Hello and welcome to the second part of today, day 4 at SI live from Sao Paulo, Brazil. I'm your host, Ginny. This time around, my analysts are Lax and Jesse. First time that we're on desk together. I know you specifically asked to not be on the desk with me, so thank you for finally joining.
Oh, she heard that.
I pleaded to make sure that I was not ever with Ginny, but they said you had to do one day, so I guess we're here.
Everyone's gonna take one for the team, you know. It do be like that sometimes. But the game that we're gonna be looking at is gonna be SCARZ up against Los. And this is a really interesting one considering how currently the group looks.
Yeah, I mean, SCARZ, they need this. They need a win here. They need to get more points on the board. Los, I mean, this is a team that I have coming out of groups anyways, whether that's the top spot or the second spot. They did get tested by SQ the other day. Yeah. They lost that. They also had a day off. So, I mean, Los got to be feeling good coming in there.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start off the topic of conversation with SCARZ particularly, because looking at that head-to-head, Jesse, I saw a 52% attack win rate.
You did, Ginny. The SCARZ attacks have been relatively strong compared to most of the teams that we've seen at this event. In fact, SCARZ so far are the only...
Got a little time of reset to figure out what went wrong in that Sonics game, figure out what happened, what went right, so that they can go into this game against SCARZ and be well more prepared than what they were against Sonics.
Absolutely. I mean, Los, we know them as a top-tier team. We just saw them pop off in Atlanta. Now, a lot of people had some concerns. Are they going to be able to keep up that momentum? Are we still going to see them reach the highest of heights? And so far, I mean, they've kind of fumbled at that. Losing to Sonics, that was kind of the main matchup. Everybody thought one of these two teams will finish first in this group. We now know it's very likely to be Sonics. So for Los, as you mentioned, I mean, still fighting for that strong second place. I still think they look like a good team. Loban still having a great performance. He was their star player in Atlanta. But Maya's been a little bit sleepier. He was kind of the second most biggest fragger that we had in Atlanta. Wasn't really popping off the last couple games.
Well, it's to say, you know, I mean, Maya's might not be having the best performance. It's the whole point of having a 5-man roster, because Dash, on the other hand, Dash was the 53rd highest rated in Atlanta, and he's performed extremely well. He's actually performing the best on the team right now. Yeah,
and when we're looking as well in terms of the map pool, similarities there, but the map veto is the most important one to be looking at, just so we can figure out where we're going to be seeing these teams heading out today. Which LA Club, Bank, and Cafe band. The first big coming through is going to be Labs. Another one in the books here.
Yeah, well, Nighthaven Labs action. Honestly, nothing surprising. Very safe pick for both these teams. For SCARZ, this is the only map that they won in Atlanta, and so far, it's also the only map they've won at SI. So they've won it at both events so far, and they're wanting to keep up that streak of being undefeated on it. And then Skyscraper pick from Los, also very, very expected to come through. So this is a map that they've had 2 recent big matches on for North America, taking out Dark Zero at the Atlanta playoffs. And then they did lose to Sonics here, but this was 8-7, so that's still a map they're quite comfortable on.
You know, what's interesting about that Skyscraper pick is that, you know, when we were watching them back in Atlanta, we were seeing those mirror castle strats, but we didn't see that during Sonics. So I'm curious if going into this game, making it into that second map, if we're going to see that sort of play, because that's what really excelled and pushed Los to their limits and made them, in my opinion, get to that grand final.
Yeah, well, we no longer have to talk about that because we have the game ready, the players are ready, and the casters are ready as well. So let's head into the first map of the series.
Thank you very much, Jenny. My name is Hap, and I'm with the Guzzler. Sorry, I was going to have to introduce you like that. It is going to be one of those mix-ups. Again, you know, we keep doing them throughout the groups, just so we have the opportunity to work with everybody at least once.
Yeah, this should be a good, fun series. By pure coincidence, I am wearing my Japan jacket today, so I guess I'm
Was it coincidence, or?
I guess I'm in the SCARZ camp for this one, and I don't know how to feel out this game, right? I think Los obviously are favourites going in, and that's reflected in the social vote, but SCARZ, at their best, this is a series they should be pushing to at least 3 maps.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what we hope to see as well, right? Like, SCARZ, of course, made a bit of a deeper run in their previous events and kind of are wanting, you know, together with Bleed, one of the teams that people will be looking out for. Like, can they actually show up for the region? But first, we get into the bands. As we head towards Nighthaven Labs, it's the newest map addition, of course, to the map pool, and I know it gets played quite a lot by some of the European teams.
Yeah, I've covered a little bit of Labs throughout the tournament, and there's been some interesting counterplay from, you know, both sides throughout the tournament, so I'm intrigued to see what we are shown in this one. Twitch, Monty off the board on the side of the attack. Twitch has been quite an influential operator at the event, hard countering the Fenrir and the Mirror in particular. Valkyrie to follow up defensively and casting my mind back earlier in the day to the Bliss Phase series. We saw just how impactful the Valkyrie can be, and often teams don't want to play the IQ to counter. Azami will also be following up.
again, like the FaZe Bliss game earlier today. And like I mentioned then, I'll reaffirm it now, Azami is a very strong operator on labs, especially when you think about top floor and the ability to hold power positions. So that tool will not be available for Loss. They'll be kicking things off on the defensive side.
Yeah, that's for sure. And, you know, of course, you have the Fantastic Four or Fantastic Five in defenders nowadays. Usually what we do see is 2 out of those to get banned. It's very rarely that we see any of the outsiders to be removed, unless it's a very specific pick towards a certain strategy that you really don't want to deal with.
It would have to be a very specific strategy, a very hard counter in this kind of meta, because it is an outlier as we prepare ourselves to jump into the game. Of course, day 4 here at Six Invitational 2024. To an extent, both teams are fighting for their spot in the league, but none more so than SCARZ. They'll be looking to mount some points on the standings, only the singular point for them so far. And that was against Fury. A little bit of a disappointing result to drop that series, I'd have to imagine. Fury, of course, not the strongest of opponents, especially in this group. Probably many pitching them to be the team eliminated. But they have actually secured their spot in the top 4.
Yeah, I think that this group especially, like, a lot of people would be going SCARZ, some going Falcons, some Fury. So it's like, I think this one was a tough one to call which team eventually will be ending up on the bottom of the standings. And it's still all out open, and we don't know yet which of these teams is going to go home in the end. Now, we do see the start of opening up of the exterior walls. The Maverick, of course, coming through, getting the anchor points away. Should be opening up, or giving the opportunity rather, for a self-destruction to open up the wall soon. I'm not sure if he actually completed it. Doesn't seem to be the case. Drops off though, deciding to not go completely with opening up that wall. Oh, has been stopped. Okay, never mind.
Reloading on ammo.
And thankfully did get it, so Rek on the Ash can follow through, or Flores Rotera does the same job in opening up that stopped wall. Seems to be the case that a lot of attacking teams here at SI in this objective are taking the double hard breach, whether that be in the form of the Thermite and the Ace, getting both sides to counteract the Bandit Juggle, or just direct going for the Maverick, which can be perhaps a little bit slower, a little bit more tedious, but Tyre, you putting on a bit of a masterclass and showing that you can actually get it done quite quickly.
Yeah, you can do it quite quickly. It's also very hard to counter. Now, sometimes what we do see some bunch of explosives being tossed at it to hope that you can chip away some of the HP, but none of that going on right now. Rek finding himself in quite deep already as he's pushing himself all the way through. He's taking care of some of the default cams as well, but I believe that the wall on his right-hand side has been reinforced, so he's going to be forced to rotate over now and go into a bit more of a close quarters as Fish actually saw Dash right underneath him, but wasn't able to get any of the shots off.
Well, 60 seconds then remaining on the clock. Oh, Maverick looking to get more work done through Con, but it's Cameraman down below to get the opening pick for Loss. Untraded, of course, a long way away from the objective, and no one from SCARZ lurking in that position currently. Up close cleared for Rek. That Hive launcher, but trading out these picks in the 4 versus 5 is going to prove to be a challenge.
Walls have to be opened up. There's 40 seconds left, and that means it needs to be a quick execute to come through. Dash will find Fish. Like, it is a great start for Lowe's, as it wasn't for Cameraman to be dropped right afterwards. So still pretty much in control here. A 4v3 situation as the A bomb side is slowly being approached. Beyond will go into DBNO stage as Rek will find Maya's hoping to open up onto that as well. But the diffuser has been dropped on the opposite side of the wall. Will go for a quick pickup on his teammate, but they have been spotted. Lobin, because that diffuser has been dropped, could see it with the Solace, is unaware though of the fact that they have been picked up as a shotgun comes in. It's going to be a 2-on-3 situation now, 2 and 2 counting down. The defuse needs to happen and is going to be stuck. Rek needs to have the cover on point as the rotations start coming in from the defense side of Lowe's. Are they going to be in time? The answer is going to be no. 45, but counting down. Rek in a 1v2 post-plant situation will find the very first, and has cover onto the diffuser as well, but needs to relocate himself as Dash seems to be aware of his position as he digs in deep. Is probably going to go for a bit of a bait with that diffuser, waiting for the sound or the call to come through. Rek cutting close around the corner will find the kill as well. SCARZ will be able to pick up round 1.
A good attempt from Dash there, the 1 versus 1. Gets off the counter defuse at the perfect moment, but Rek too sharp. Key player, of course, for SCARZ and heading into the day, by far the highest rated. A 1.25 on Siege GG. His entry, surprisingly, a -2, but in the late round is put on display there. very tricky to take down. Good work from SCARZ. I think they did actually a pretty good job, right, reading into, especially that Solus down below. I think there was a Mozzie there at one point in time as well. Instead, flooding site, not exposing themselves to the soft floor. So pretty well played, you know, by both teams, I think, at different points in the round, and one of those that probably could have gone either way.
It could have gone either way, especially, you know, right after the diffuser went down, lost the actual support he had, Rek, and he played it perfectly in the end. They didn't really know where he was, so he had all the cards to play with here and really make sure that they had the opportunity to play that one for the round victory. See how much it means. Like, they also are aware of the fact that they need to pick up some points here today, preferably even a victory against Lowe's if they want to be getting themselves out of the groups. Otherwise, I believe they play the elimination match tomorrow against Falcons, which is also something they are not really looking forward to if that would be the case.
Attackers have dropped the bomb diffuser.
Just looking at R6 Esports on X, formerly known as Twitter. That's a little content piece with Wedables and Forest. The fallen Mo.
The mustache.
Bottom floor and the walls aren't reinforced. Let's just hold that thought for a moment. This is quite intriguing from Lost. I don't think we've seen this in the tournament so far.
I do see a quick blitz push coming in as well, though, so this might be a very quick-paced round that is being put on by SCARZ. As, of course, you mentioned it, that wall's been left open. Plants already starting to come through. The blitz will go down in the meantime. C4 gets tossed out as well, but won't find anything. But we do have the plant, and it is counting down 45 seconds. And if there's something I know, is that it's very difficult to retake here and try and get the defuser counter-defused. It is planted quite deep, though, so that might be the one saving grace.
Well, 30 seconds then on the fuse as the defense looks to filter through. Washoy able to cut down 2, almost a third. It's Maya up close, pinged with the pistol. He's off the board. No time remaining now for Lost to make any more mistakes. Loban's clean, but now we're at 15 on the clock. Washoy just needs to hold on for a couple more seconds, but unable to achieve that feat. Loban on the counter defuse will confirm the round for Lost, with what was one of the most peculiar defensive setups we may have seen at the event so far.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what's going on there. Was that like a mistake that they forgot about the wall to reinforce it? Were maybe a bit late? I mean, they were very quick with the breach, so I mean, I wouldn't guess that that's what happened there. I mean, they had the mirror window set up, so maybe it was more of a bait. Like, sure, open up this wall, and then we can challenge you from the mirror window. The cameraman actually coming back towards the site was able to find Blitz and take him down. And that is eventually what he dropped. But, you know, Lowe's managed to bring it back. And of course, they went for the tank plant, probably because they were able to just walk through there and not have to worry about the mirror window. But that one was a bit more difficult to hold than if you would have planted it, you know, right in front of that mirror window. So,
yeah, I'd be intrigued to look at the replay file on that round to know if Lost are, you know, fully committing to a bait up above. Possibly. I don't think they were, though. Instead, probably just, you know, expecting the wall to be opened either way anyway, so I'd rather invest those reinforcements elsewhere for other playmaking opportunities. Ultimately, it does work. Don't know if it was necessarily directly off the back of the setup, but nonetheless, they claim a round. They tie the scoreline 1 apiece, but that's 2 very close rounds to kick off the series.
Close rounds.
Yeah.
And both of them actually did see that plant happen, but you know, in round 1 it was like a kind of last resort, and like the last 4 seconds they needed to go for that plant. Here you just saw it really quickly, so it's like 2 complete opposites of rounds that we've seen so far. Beyond hacks the bulletproof, is going to be hacking the huge hammer as well. Oh, Dots will just take it out for him instead. Has been hacked though, so the charge has been lost on the clutch drone. But not going to be able to use that bulletproof camera into their advantage. Tayo, open up the wall outside. It's going to be softed. Again, waiting for the RC Rotero to come through, open up that wall. Just as high up as they possibly can. And this way, I mean, sure, right? The Maverick is a bit tedious to work with, but if you're really good at it, there's almost no counter to it.
I mean, if you've got a Maverick that knows what they're doing, it's a minimal time loss anyway, and you can make up for that with, obviously, the global Dockerby, and then you have the Yin Candles as well for the execute, and that isn't as reliant on, you know, a lot of time remaining. So don't mind it from SCARZ, and it frees up that, you know, secondary high-bridge slot for something different. Rek using those Candles currently over towards top blue. No one to directly follow that up.
No, it was for the clutch drone. Kion was being hunted on his clutch drone there, and he was calling it out, and they were playing Ring Around the Rosie on the door. He didn't want to swing because there was people on top, so Rek decided to throw in a Candela so the drone could actually go inside and check for utility. I've not seen a drone being flashed in, but you know, I guess there's always something new to see.
Rainbow Six in 2024. Well, those clutch drones critical though in countering the Fenrir, one of the more oppressive defensive operators at the moment. Flashes now to come through from Rek. That's the final Candela. Still a mine on the door. That wasn't hacked. Rek to push forward. Gets the first. And there's no immediate trade from Loss.
A lot of damage done into cameramen as well as the flashbangs come through. Double to follow, but it's just a trading game that we're seeing right now. There's openings in the walls and everybody's just running in wherever they can. Cameraman on the flank now with about 1 HP. He's gone unspotted so far. The plan's again going down. Cameraman needs to strike true, but he misses the opportunity on Pion, and that might actually be the deciding factor for this round. As again, Command is the place that they decided to go, and again, SCARZ able to get that plan down. Not really being contested whatsoever. Can Cameraman go for that clutch? Is that big question. Well, with the amount of HP he has, I would be surprised if he sticks it and indeed gets shut down.
Well, success again for SCARZ on the top floor, and unfortunately for the defensive Loss, in a more convincing fashion, walls opened up early, space created top blue. Despite some util still standing, Rek was able to get the opening pick, and there was no immediate trade from Loss. So good work there from SCARZ, leveraging the tools that they had available. And now we'll see if they're able to formulate a response again. And it's probably a point brought up by every caster on every map of every series of the tournament so far, but attacks come at a premium at the moment, irrespective of the map. So for Loss, it's about sort of correcting course as quickly as possible.
Yeah, for sure. Like, the defense has been about 61% of the rounds that were won at the start of the day. That's only been increasing, I believe, with some of the games that we've been seeing, or at least staying equal to it. So every attack that you manage to put on the board is going to be huge, especially if you're leading when you're on your attack here. If SCARZ can basically force this into like 3 attack rounds, maybe even 4, finding themselves in really good territory for the remainder of this match.
5 seconds to insertion.
So storage would go then for round number 4, and this is perhaps one of the more dynamic objectives I would describe it on this particular map. It offers the defense the ability to lurk down below and vert up into the objective, but also to hold up above and then flood down below. But this is also an objective where equally the defense, if they can strike true and find weaknesses in the setup, are able to exploit that, create a little bit of space, and in doing so pressure the site quite quickly. So we'll see how SCARZ look to approach. At the moment, just the Ash charge down below to facilitate the IT wall getting opened up. Dot's flash. No immediate follow-up though. Elsewhere, the breach opened up.
More so about like using utility, using the Candela to make sure no one was going to go for a swing. It's always a bit like wondering. It's like you used 2 Candelas, you could have gotten a free kill if they knew that the person in there was going to be flashed. Fishlight does have a good spot out on one of those drones, so probably will have called that out, waiting for the rest of his team to get into a position where they can actually deal with that situation. Exothermic going off on the opposite side as well, so it seems for now that there's a lot of pressure coming down horizontal from both the Ying and the Thermite. The rest seems to be going up towards that top floor, seeing if they can get that vertical under control. Of course, top down is always a bit more tricky to deal with than bottom up, and that Ash Charge is going to be making sure that that mirror window is going to be cracked.
And cracked it is, now opened up, and Dash's position now compromised. For Loss, it's all about maintaining this man count and not creating a weakness for SCARZ to exploit. Rack up above. The SCARZ look to time something. Unfortunately, they haven't actually gotten a whole lot of map control at the midway point of the round. Yes, they've been able to poke and prod around, a couple of hard breaches open, but they need to force themselves in. And Fishlight says, well, okay, I'll just walk straight in. Yellow ping onto Maya, collects the kill. And Dots does not respond, nor does Cameraman. He'll fall as well.
Quickly exerts themselves as well, and they have a 2-minute advantage right now with about a minute left on that clock. There's plenty of time to start getting yourself towards either control or towards the storage room and start getting that plan down as well. Dot drops as he gets swung on by two different sides. Dash will strike back onto Pion, but the defuse is going through. The C4 gets tossed out, will blow up, and as Lowen will find a kill as well, we find ourselves in a 2v1 situation in favor of Lowe's. It seemed like this round was going to be a SCARZ round, hands down, but now it's only up to the last remaining member. Shut down quickly as well. Lowe's able to just shut down whatever SCARZ was cooking up there, even though it was like a 4v2 situation.
I mean, mechanically, they just did not put a foot wrong at all there. Every single shot was landing. The positioning as well was on point. Great nitro for plant denial. It looked good for SCARZ. I think they took a long time to sort of find that window of opportunity. Fishlike was then able to capitalize, finally get a kill off the back of that yellow ping. The rest of the team tried to follow up and was somewhat successful, but unfortunately, it then did fall apart.
That must have been like a lack of information because, as you mentioned, like everything was just going right. They weren't making any big mistakes. They were struggling in getting the nitrous cell taken care of. That took out your diffuser planter, sure, right? But it's like you should normally still have like 3 other members left, but those all fell in their respective own ways as well. I love what all the
What was that?
I don't know what it was, but
It
I love
looked cool.
like the items that people bring. Like VP, for example, has like a Bionicle with them. Some people have like plushies with Joel and a mannequin. It's always fun whenever we see like little personal items being brought out.
Attackers' objective is to
Amy was
locate a
asking me
bomb.
actually this morning during our game if I was a player, what would I bring? I'll flip that question to you, Hap. If
Oh,
you were
what
playing
would I
at SI,
bring?
what would you bring?
I have to think about it.
It's a tough question,
It
right?
is a tough question.
I ended up just saying a
personal statement.
I just said a plush kangaroo, but that is very generic.
I don't know what I would bring. If I would have, right, you know, like the biggest... Okay, it would be branding if I say that now. Do-it-yourself bricks, you know, you stack on top of each other that have nice clicking. I'm not going to call out the brand. Bring that one with as we see the entry coming through. Of course, it is the basement top-down approach is important. And they do have the Jackal track to help with the roam clear. Now, they are hunting a player. Surely they are going to be falling down back towards the side as the second set of pings will be coming through. And they're all just trying to send as much let-down range as they can, but you should see it right here. Loben falling back. He's taking quite a bit of damage, but still alive. That's the most important part. Whoa.
Yep, especially on that Solace roll. Want to have impact later in the round, but once again, that window is the demise of Lost. Such a powerful position for the attack to lock down. And it's 3 straight, unanswered. Lost struggling in this round, and the remaining 2 will now need to try and manufacture something pretty special here.
I mean, they did a 2v4 clutch just the previous round. Surely they can go for it again, as it does get a little bit harder, though. Only Dots left alive to try and find himself something here. He's moved himself up the stairs onto Cargo, trying to hold himself into a bit of a disruptive position. And I understand, because you do not want to take a 1v5 onto the side. You're going to be losing that. You need to catch 1 or 2 off guard, then suddenly it's a 1v3. It's a lot more doable, especially if someone goes for the plant. But as he moves through, it's a flawless round from SCARZ to come in. And as you mentioned, those attack rounds are so valuable right now. They've found 3. Arguably should have had 4 so far, SCARZ. They have been dominating Lowe's over those last couple of rounds.
Yeah, it doesn't get too much more dominant than a flawless round, and I think the most concerning element of that for Lost is that the attack never really got going on the objective itself. A lot of it on the periphery.
It's all up top, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the danger, right? When you go for such a heavy roam kind of play. And SCARZ read that perfectly. They just managed to find them as they were, well, falling back towards that first floor, really. It wasn't even back towards the site. And it seems all really controlled from SCARZ right now. We don't see any, like, panicky plays coming through, which we do sometimes, you know, when things do start to get close. It is very controlled environment right now. Like, they're doing what they have practiced a lot of times. And for now, Labs seems to be going into that direction quite decisively. I know it's still 2-3, but again, should have been 1-4. And that was only like because of the like amazing plays that we saw from the 2 remaining players that they managed to get back into that round.
Attackers are moving to defuse a bomb.
So we head back upstairs for the final round of the half. Logan prepping himself for something a little bit cheeky here, perhaps at the beginning of the round. One of the standout players at the Atlanta Major. For a standout roster, still pretty crazy to think that Lost made it to that grand final. Still, Logan sitting on a 1.15 at this event so far. And we can see off screen that he's actually still at that damn window. So we'll see if anyone from SCARZ falls into that trap as they get to work on the hard breach in the early phase of this round, which has been, you know, one of the stronger elements of their attack overall. They haven't had any issues at all in opening walls, which, I mean, as I say, that sounds like a pretty obvious point, but sometimes teams do have issues and it can compound into
Very
tricky
often
attacks.
teams have issues opening walls. It's just like they forget how to double EMP, or to, if they're playing up against the Bandit, how to use an Ace and a Thermite at the same time. It happens all the time. This no entry kill is going to be there for the side of Los as Rek gets taken down. You mentioned it before, a very important player for the side of SCARZ. Almost see the response coming in though. It's the verticality hoping to return the favor. Fish like will find dash, so at least a direct trade, but a lot of damage that he takes in the process out there. I mean, 30 left on the clock. Really need to start putting up some pressure towards that ground floor, towards that basement now, because otherwise you're not gonna. Actually, now it's still top 4, but you still need to open up all those castle barricades. Oh, he sees the feet, possibly. Gotta crawl backwards, otherwise you can't see.
Forget about it. The castle configuration here is pretty wild. Gives the attack a lot of space through IT. Good timing. Gone 6 bait on the barricade. Push to come through to the left-hand side. And Maya caught off. Fish like he has the diffuser. Well, he falls.
Attackers recovered the
So that's now on a bit of an island for the attack to recover. Fortunately, though, it's not an issue. Dots, cameraman, in a 2 versus 3. And unfortunately for the defense, one of those players is stranded down below. We're sure he can push through. And now it is said player of cameraman to retake warehouse. Can't do so. SCARZ, they take round 6, and that was a very impressive half.
I was gonna say, that's such an impressive half coming through from SCARZ. Like they managed to just basically be the leading charge in most of those rounds. And again, like the attack is underpowered, you can almost say, in terms of representation in the rounds that have been won so far in SI. So them setting this up at a 2-4 is really building into a potential, like, quite dominating map 1 win. But of course, 2 sides to the game of Siege. It is now going to be that side swap coming through. And that means they also need to be showing us that their defense is going to be strong enough to actually hold on for those 3 rounds.
Well, here is the replay package of that previous round. And I actually thought that was the Grim that died there and the diffuser got jumped. Not the case, it just got juggled in the moment. So that was throwing me off a little bit, but it did mean that the attack had the advantage heading into that final phase, and cameraman, he was lurking down below on an island, trying to retake warehouse, never going to happen. So good work from SCARZ.
Happened multiple times now. Every single time we do see them attack the top floor, it was like the one member still coming in from all the way below, being like, oh, the side has fallen, I need to go back. And it's just not going to happen at that point, as you just mentioned. Turnaround though, as command again will be the bomb site. This time it will be SCARZ on the defense. Are they going to be able to be a bit more effective, I guess, at keeping Los out of the building than Los was at keeping SCARZ out of the building? Of course, cameramen will also be playing around on that Maverick, so should be able to open up some of these walls quite successfully. Electrification, of course, will hurt if you get close, but it does like 2 damage per time you go up against this, so it's nothing too big. EMP will be used to open up for the Selmas. Both of them just quickly falling out as well, not sticking around to try and challenge through the wall that just has been opened up. As cameraman is going to start opening up on the wall that has been bandit tricked.
Yeah, so the Maverick being brought out in direct counter to the Bandit once again, so nothing too wild here so far from Lost. Nitro though, early from Washoy, won't land, trying to catch somebody off guard, perhaps playing Overwatch on the breach. Interestingly, Fishlike stood out to me on the Jaeger playing the M870, so I don't know where he's going to look to post up, perhaps inside of Electrical. That will be the case. And if Lost end up pivoting towards a comm push for the objective, he'll be in a powerful position to try and halt that attack.
I was going to say, SCARZ had the better Maverick. It took a lot less time to open up the wall out there, but the job has been done. Now, I think that C4 we just saw being tossed out was supposed to be hitting out that Maverick, or at least forced him off a little bit, but it landed just short, as you can see out there, so wasn't able to deal any damage into that radius. A minute 20 left on the clock, and whilst there has been some openings made, we do not really have any control yet. Dots is trying to change that though, as he's entering the warehouse, trying to take control of the mezzanines, putting up some Bs behind the mirror window as well, so there is no direct challenge coming through. Whilst Loban is playing down below, has the skeleton key. He's just waiting for a ping before he starts ripping up the floorboards and can actually start to try and put down some pressure. Hopes to do so onto the mirror window, but it is Maya that drops out first. And Dot's taking quite a lot of damage now as well as the window opens up. I'm not quite sure how that will help him in this process here.
Oh! Well,
beautiful shot.
That's exactly how a clean shot behind the chassis, 4 versus 4. 40 seconds now on the clock, and Dots has the diffuser in hand, but he needs to push through top blue, and he'll be greeted by Tayu, who arguably has the favored fight, but he's pinged, falls back, and he just gets back to the objective. 25 seconds on clock, both clock and Fenrir to just stall it out.
Yeah, not really helping out there, him to escape. More Bs coming through though, and that should be giving away another bit of information. But Pyeon waiting patiently, his dash takes one down. Loban drops himself as Dots takes a little bit more damage. The jump up comes in from Pyeon, gets a double kill. That might be the difference maker here. With 5 seconds left on the clock, the pistol will finish it off, and SCARZ put themselves on 5-2 in the lead.
Ooh, a lot of good pressure applied there from Lost, but Pyeon in particular rises above it. I mean, wow. What a multi. And then whips out the pistol for the final pick. A position just not cleared by Lost. Probably one of the few positions that wasn't properly cleared by them.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they did have the Grimbees on him, but, you know, he's just staying still, just out of range maybe as well. So he's just waiting for, like, the perfect moment to strike. And as soon as you know there's 5 seconds left on the clock, you know that they have to be on the side of that moment in time. So you see him pop up here, gets one, gets the second, beautiful flick to come through, instantly swapping over to the pistol, realizing he needs to help his teammate to make sure that you're always in that 1v2 situation, rather than going for a reload, saving your own life first, having the opportunity to turn that into 2 1v1 situations. So well played out there by Pyeon. Really can praise him for that round. But just the general team of SCARZ did very well out there. As we are headed back towards the basement, towards tank. That's where SCARZ is looking to find themselves up towards 6 in total.
5 seconds left.
And the Kavera is being brought out from Rec. This might just feel like a little bit of BS.
Out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
I don't think we've had an interrogation at the event.
We haven't,
yet, have we?
No, we haven't.
Rec is the kind of guy that will pull it off. He is that guy.
Is he that guy? Is he him?
Find out soon. It's going to come down to the drone work for Lost. It's not like they have a Jackal, for instance, to maybe find that information, or, you know,
Or a Dokkaebi
probably
to
more
call.
efficiently, like a Dokkaebi,
Yeah.
or a line to lock him down.
And of course, it is going to be the basement site, so you don't really need to take all the way up to the top. What we most likely see is the warehouse being controlled, so we do not have like any of the vertical angles that will, you know, potentially be used. And then we have the majority of the team probably trying to go for a vertical take if that is the wall they want to go for. Because if they do want to take top floor under control, they need to be a little bit quicker with doing so, because a minute has passed and only Dash is opening up now, taking out some default cams into warehouse. He doesn't have any support, mind you. So if Rec is able to get a shot off, there's no one there that can help him to not be interrogated. And Dash just putting his back right next to the wall here.
Yeah, he has no idea. And Rec can just sit and wait for his prey to move into position. Rec may have even played it too patiently. He'll push forward.
Everybody's outside.
Attackers
The
have
air jab.
located a
Here's
bomb.
the air jab.
Oh. Oh, he's on camera. Rec. Oh, he could have pushed forward.
No, but so the thing is, he used the impact there, right, to get rid of the air jab, then was being spotted. Doesn't know how many people there are there, of course, because they've taken out the default cam before. wouldn't expect the person to be out there. Talking about out there, they're already in the position to go for a plant here. Dash is just going to try and stick it. Is there anything? Yes, there's smoke canisters. Dash and Logan will both find themselves a kill, and in the meantime, as this plant is looking to go down, Cameraman and Maya will both find one as well. It's only up to Tayo now on that smoke, trying to stall as much as he possibly can in a 1v5, but the Blitz is starting to come through. There should be a lock-off, and indeed a flawless round from Lowe's, and we were very occupied with what's happening above, and in the meantime, we just had the entire team go for a horizontal take, like we said before, to try and get themselves right into the side to go for a plant.
Yeah, well, I think we were just as distracted as SCARZ by the little dance up above on the top floor. A pretty simple push in the end, straight through the single breach. The Talon shield from the Osa to just facilitate that plan. And whilst the smoke canisters made it a little bit awkward, the defense ultimately forced forward to try and deny the plant, find a pick or two. And the positions held from Loss, the pressure from the Blitz as well, in particular, in that pillar position, made it very, very challenging for the defense. Here's the replay package. Ooh, pretty sharp there from Logan, who continued to apply pressure, and that's a really intriguing strat there on the main breach as well, right? They get the line of sight with the Maverick. Cameraman can play safe behind the shield, and it's actually quite challenging from that position for SCARZ to deny that plant and counteract the push.
Yeah, I mean, he basically cuts the entire rotation in half, right? Like, just being out there, having that shield, it's also a very tiny gap, so getting your impact through to try and take care of that Talon shield is going to be quite challenging as well. Probably why we did see that good success coming through from Lowe's. Kavera not paying out this time around. Early E1D popping as well. I mean, you still see some players moving. It's like, whatever. We were on the site. What are you going to do with that information? You'll be there anyway. Eye hack though. Two things have been hacked. I don't know what else has been hacked. I know that Evil Eye just got shot. So there's a lot of utility early that has been taken out here. And the clutch drone has still been saved. And it's going to be moving to a different position now to hack default cam.
Yeah, we've seen a decent amount of value from the Brava thus far at the event. It makes sense given some of the powerful operators on defense are directly countered by her. Elsewhere, the IT wall will be opened up, and that will expose the push through to the top floor, provided Lost want to commit to it, and I'm fairly certain that they will. Elsewhere, Dot's activating a Candela, so probably trying to create space of his own. Mixed success from the Ying so far, it must be said, in this round. But Maya will play off that distraction. Well, he tries to at least, but will show it up above. Elsewhere, though, Lost will find a couple of picks for themselves.
Find two, so they are back in the lead. Find another one as well, bringing it back to a 2-on-3 situation. A minute 30 left on the clock. A verticality heavily being played out now by the side of SCARZ. Also going to be aware as that takes a little bit of damage. I'm not quite sure how they knew. Is that Pink's coming through? Yes, must be. Oh, from the Evil Eye. So that is just giving away all the information now and making sure that that is not going to be feeling safe to try and go for a plant. Has to try and move. It's going to go for a smoke canister, but, going to be able to look through that as well. So that's not going to be the cover that they're looking for. As now Dad's looking to attempt and go for the plant as Dash will find one, will find two. Lock it up for Low. So we're too busy with trying to get the person down below, not really paying attention to the, elephant in the room that was coming upstairs, trying to make sure that that wasn't going to last.
Yeah, good presence of mind to be able to disrupt the top floor hold there from the defense, and with SCARZ at the man disadvantage, it was always going to be a stretch to see them get that round across the line. The margin now tightens, scoreline 4-5. Still though in favor of the Japanese, but we'll see if they can edge themselves closer towards that match point, the first in this best of 3.
Yeah, and of course we're headed back towards command, and this one was, of course, coming down to the 1v2 in the end that Pyeon managed to take home as he stood up, found 2 kills, the pistol for the last one as well. But that round overall felt like SCARZ was quite in control, and it was just that final push that came through that put Lowe's slightly back into the round. And they, of course, want to be changing that. They want to make sure that they are in control for the entirety of that round and can just get that plan down, equalize that score, bring it back to a 5-5.
Attackers must locate
and as they do, 3 drones already lost on the hands of Fishlike. So that is painful for the information game later on. But it's not like, they've really had any troubles whatsoever on the attack at this moment with information.
Yeah. Clash in play. Always a funny operator in Siege. Can make or break around, though, for the attack if they're unable to deal with them. And Pyun will actually lurk over towards the top blue position. I think that's probably the perfect place to play the Clash. Probably anticipating the Candela from the Ying to break that position apart. Not to be the case this time around, but SCARZ won't know that yet. Elsewhere, it's the Maverick, though, in play, which has been a staple so far.
Yeah, it has been a staple.
Pretty much every time a wall needs to be opened up or a line of sight, we've seen the Mav. And the efficiency from both teams has been pretty good.
Takes them a little while. It's going to be running out at the very first line here, but better to do that than halfway through and having to crawl back. That's always that awkward part, right? When you just ran out of the canister and just halfway through, you need to crawl all the way back to make sure that that wall opens up properly, but it has been opened up properly. No issues whatsoever. A lot of these gadgets being split out by Dash, though. Minute 40. Of course, as we are playing in that top floor, you don't really need to get control of first floor. You don't really need to get control of that basement. Sure, might be flanks coming on, but if you're quick enough to actually take the site, which is possible on this top floor, on command, especially with the walls that have been or are being opened up, you have the opportunity to just rush and flood the site and then don't have to worry about these rotates. However, there's a player downstairs that you might have to worry about. As Lowen just gets removed from one of those Mavericks. Which is struggling out there. His cameraman is struggling as well. It's like hoping to open up. They opened up the small line of sight so they would have the opportunity to provide some cover. But instead it worked the opposite direction and they lose the entry kill because of it.
Awkward engagement, to say the least. Dot's trying to create space in electrical. Hive launcher over the top. Can't really follow it up, though, with aggression, especially in the face of the shotgun. He'll jump into the Fenrir device as well. Fortunately, though, for him, he'll survive for now. Stuck, get a gas canister. Trying to find some fresh air. 30 seconds, though, on the clock, and power position still held by SCARZ as well as the souls down below.
Yeah, that's it. Fishlock in a perfect position down below, and as Waxo takes some damage on that mirror, has to try and stay alive. Taiko also worried. Oh, flicks back on the right moment. A second to come in with the shotgun as well, and it's only up to cameraman now. He's on the roof. All alone, has to jump in, goes into warehouse, hopes to salvage the round, but they seem to be aware as the swing comes in. And the map point is going to be there for SCARZ. They get themselves into a comfortable enough lead, 2 rounds, where they have the opportunity to lock it off. And of course, they won command in round 7, they won it now. They've lost tank and they've lost control room afterwards. They will be going back to tank assembly. They've lost that before. That was when we had the Kavira incident up above, where it was just, you know, everybody was distracted by that. In the meantime, the plant was already going down. So maybe if they tidy that up just a little bit more, we will find them with another win.
Yeah, looking back at that previous round, kicked off with that initial pick from Washoy, and then Tayu right here almost flicks at the wrong moment. Well, he actually does, but then corrects it. Lost tried their best to seek that particular push to ensure that at least one player got the kill. Ultimately, though, it probably wouldn't have had the biggest of impacts in that round as the damage had been done earlier on. That will bolster, though, SCARZ chances at closing this one out in regulation if they can tidy up bottom floor. I'm not seeing a Kavira selected here, though, by the defense, so it should be something a little bit more conventional. That said, Lost kept it pretty simple last time around. They had the Maverick line of sight on double wall. They opened up the single, got in with the plant off the back of the Talon Shield from the Osa, which they're not bringing this time around, but of course the attacking pattern could still work, so we'll wait and see. Counterplay, though, from SCARZ. They're actually going to open line of sight on that double wall and make it perhaps a little bit more challenging to go for the Maverick if Lost wanted to, but this time around it is just the ace and those Salmas in hand.
Of course, for the impacts that could be used to try and stop the breach from happening. Again, second one will connect, so third Selma has to be used to open up that wall, and that means that the other one might stay shut just a little bit better. Of course, there is going to be the heart breach can openers from the side of Dots, which could still be used on the opposite one side. But it is a completely different kind of setup that we're seeing from Lowe's right now. We don't have the Maverick, we don't have the Osta, for example, so this more so seems like a regular top-to-down clear to come through, as Rack was trying to lean in, but Low been able to come out on top of that fight and finds himself with the entry. An important one, again, as he's starting to clear out these roamers, but it's a very heavy roam clear from the side of SCARZ. There's 3 more players up top that they would have to worry about, and these logic bombs that go off, they basically tell the tale.
Fish like on the roam as well. He's been struggling a little bit 2-8, but Wishoy perhaps the next to play contact. He's through lobby. If he's able to get a kill here and then sneak back up above, it could be difficult for Lost to trade him, and Wishoy just sneaks up behind him. Like a librarian, he'll tap dash on the shoulder, who turns around and falls. A 4 versus 4, silence across the map now with 1:20 on the clock.
And still, not full top floor control. They're starting to head down the stairs. Fishlight comes in from the flank as he will find a single one before he gets shut down. 1:10 left now. And Maya will find another kill as well, leaving only up to Wishoy and Pion, who are still slightly up on top as well. They do have some verticality to play with here. The diffuser gets dropped outside. Not quite sure what the plan is behind that one. Probably to give it to someone else. So Dot thought it was safe to go for the plan, but instead is going to be taking some damage up from top as Pion is being challenged both horizontally and from down below. Dots goes down with the diffuser on the actual side. That's the most important part as Wishoy takes him down. Pion comes in with the super shorty but isn't quite able to connect. 40 seconds left on the clock and it is going to be Maya to go for the lock off, and with that bring it back to a 5-6, but SCARZ got really close on that one to lock it off.
I mean, messy round.
It was messy.
A couple of very awkward moments caught by our lovely observer. I believe it's easy on this game. Don't know how he can communicate to me if it is. I'm sure he can probably tell us. It is. I heard his voice. The voices. I heard the voices in my headset. But yeah, so many weird isolated incidents around the map, and then ultimately Pion probably, in the best position to disrupt up above. He got caught off. I think he fat-fingered the drone button as well, which obviously did not help. But nonetheless, SCARZ still on match point, but the final round of regulation and their final opportunity to close it out here.
Back towards control, not going back towards that basement floor. And as we get going, it's the last round of regulation. If they do not lock it off, we are headed towards that overtime. For SCARZ. Again, it was such a good moment from Fishlight to strike, but maybe just had to wait like half a second longer before they actually started heading down the stairs and started putting pressure up there, because the player just moved in. At the moment he walked out, managed to catch him off after that first kill. But again, first floor, control. Top floor, quite important. First floor, even more important, that's the site. What we will be seeing in the setup as well, of course, is the top floor is visited by 2 of these players. Reinforcements coming out as well to make life a little bit more difficult. It's up to Los now to try and solve the issues that they see up ahead of them. And as there is an Skyros on the side of Lobin, actually we just saw the bandit wires being stuck down, so he's not going to be able to open up that deep. What? Why did you just jump in? What are you doing, Dots? Get shut down, and with that, SCARZ get a free opening kill. The diffuser as well is dropped inside.
What is going on? No, there's one thing for sure. It's a 4 versus 4, and Wreck up above. This is weird. Plenty of words to describe it. Plenty of which are probably not appropriate for stream. 4 versus 3 though. And Maya low could be the next to fall. Skeleton key up close, finds the kill. 2 minutes on the clock, Hap, and there's only 6 players up.
Every single round till now has made some sense. This one has gone south completely. Dash almost a 1 HP. He's just swinging along right now, going through. Pion going in for 1. Gets traded out right afterwards by the skeleton key. Maya will be blown up right now by the nitro cell, leaving it only up to cameraman in a 1v2. He needs the clutch if they want to stay in this first map, as he gets some pings out of ward, and he's predicting he would be running out from the direction he just opened up, but they have another C4 and he blows him into pieces. SCARZ take map 1, they take labs, and they get another point on the board in a very important part of this stage for them in this tournament.
What just happened?
Well, you're the Polycaster in this duo apparently, so you tell me.
Well, I might lose my job because I don't think I can describe what just happened in that particular round. But I'll pick up on your point, because every other round in that particular match actually made pretty decent sense.
Yeah, it was going quite well.
Yeah, we saw some cool stuff from Lost on the attack and, you know, good counterplay from both teams. And then it all just got thrown out the window for that final round. SCARZ thrive, though, I think, in that environment. They proved it on that particular occasion. And I think it sets us up for a pretty fun best of 3.
Yeah, but before we continue with that, we are headed for a very short break. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back with you shortly.
It's been a largely disappointing affair for a map that they've picked, a map that attacking into hasn't been all that difficult for teams at this tournament. Clearly for Liquid, though, attack has been a nightmare that they have to continue to relive. Because they've obviously been in this situation before with W7M, have, you know, given them the old heave-ho.
It's
Copenhagen.
It's so rough, and it's a tough pill here for Liquid to swallow, because as I said at the time, you know, the more and more these rounds slip away, the harder and harder it gets to pull yourself back in, because you are looking at the grand scheme of things. And W7M, opposite end of it, the confidence is higher than it's ever been. The plays are dropping a deke through a hatch and hitting shots, and they'll adventure a little bit more. They'll risk a little bit more.
Guz has just come from the other stream, by the way, and I think he's probably anticipated this to be like a 6-6 overtime score, and he looks at it, and it's 5-0. And he's like, why are they yelling?
5-0, map 2.
And the first map was 7-3.
And the first map was 7-3. Liquid, if they don't win this, they obviously have one sort of more opportunity to get points on the board.
Did not know. JV had no idea that resets had lurked up yellow. Nice start again for Liquid, but at this point, I just don't trust them. I'm sorry, Hemi, but I don't. Too many opening kills that they've had throughout the series, let alone the map, that they just cannot convert into round wins. So despite getting that opening kill, I would still say W7M should feel confident, but Felipox gets greedy. Did not need to swing that window. Suddenly, from 1 kill to 2, but Nate does get a kill onto Palu. 4 versus 3, 60 seconds. KZ, has he got another fadeaway in him? Not too bad, not too shabby. Damage onto both Reset and Nest. The impact is nice. They're all so low, and they do fall. Trade 1-for-1. Herds on the Thorn gets involved as well. It's only 1 versus 2.
Nesk from Liquid getting the first body, the first lead in here. Nose can't get the player up. Nose, they can't get the players down. 6.
They're not even celebrating anymore.
6-0. They feel bad.
They look like they're losing.
I feel bad.
Like, it's 6-0.
It's rough.
Liquid, what is going on? They're not going to get a single map from this game, from this series, I should say, which is going to leave them, I believe, what, 4 points?
4 points.
So that's bottom outside of M80. M80 play after this, by the way, immediately after this against Bleed. If M80 beat Bleed, then the match tomorrow between M80 and Liquid, the loser is out of the tournament.
Yeah. Yes.
But Bleed's going to beat M80.
Bleed could be M80, but no, it's not even that. It's if Bleed beat M80 and M80 are on 0.
Well,
and
I
then,
guess...
And then M80 beat Liquid.
Well, it depends on tiebreakers.
No, yeah, well, I think the first tiebreaker is head-to-head. So M80, if they beat Liquid tomorrow,
so basically
2-0.
Yeah, the Bleed at M80 game is not like super influential.
You want if Bleed win 2-0, they get confirmed.
Yeah, obviously.
If M80, if people at home want the most intense storyline for the game tomorrow, what needs to happen, I think, is Bleed need to 2-0 M80, so they're on 0 points. And then Liquid are on 4 points because...
That would mean, though, M80 would have to 2-0 Liquid.
Yeah.
So if M80 want to be able to beat Liquid 2-1 and advance,
M80
they would have to get something from Bleed today.
Yeah.
Cool. Glad we got there in the end. We're not covering the game anyway.
We can do math.
So that, whoever's going to cover that game can
Maths is
do the
all
maths.
right.
6-0 here, though, unfortunately, for those maybe having only just tuned in very briefly. W7M won convincingly on Clubhouse 7-3 and, well, doing even more convincing on console at 6-0. I think Liquid have checked out. I think W7M are a little bit bored as well. They're not even celebrating. No screams, no passion.
They're thinking about what's for dinner at this point.
I think they're very happy because it's, well, I mean, dinner's going to be early for them. This has been a speed run.
It's horrifying that it is because you want it to be a showdown because you know it can be. It has been this year. And yet, here at this tournament, we keep getting these surprise showings of teams coming all in. being knocked right out.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Rakonas,
First kill at this point doesn't matter.
First kill gets rid of Herds. It's, yeah, statistically sort of the opposite of the drive of how rounds have gone. W7M, they just seem to like a sacrificial lamb for success.
They like to make it harder on themselves. Like.
Yeah, Herds, this time you die, and then...
I will say, though, they're on attack, so it's a little different. Like,
it is.
If you're on defense and it's a 4v5, yeah, whatever. But attack, it's a little bit more annoying. Still got to deal with these Capcan. Open up the breach in towards break. That's done pretty successfully. Minute 20, not a lot of time here on an admin side push. I won't lie, Liquid should probably be winning this round, especially with Ness getting a freebie down to Nade. Not sure where he went. Clearly didn't drone out break, and so therefore you get punished if you do not go through the checklist in a hard time. Fleetbox, nice shot onto Lagonis, but they are continuing to lose players with Palu finding the kill onto KZ elsewhere. There goes the Flores. 4 versus 2, 60 seconds left. I don't think we're going to get our 7-0. We'll see whether or not that does happen. The Candela thrown out from Fleetbox. To no avail, unless you pick the doorway and you give him a 1v1 and another one through JV. You can't be losing these games, Liquid. Like, come on now, that's better from Resets. Resets and Palu versus JV92.
Don't let this happen right now. JV92 is a
I'm gonna walk off the set if W7M win this round.
world-class player, but so are Palu and Resets. They know what they can do. They just need to take the breath and get this locked in. It's a game of many rounds, and it'll start with one at a time. And here, 20 seconds or 2 versus 1. They just have to keep their pace. JV has all the pressure to plant. The site has long sight lines, easy rotations. They know exactly where he is. The first dance round, the smoke canister. There's the catch, Palu. Cool hands, cool positioning. That's the first. Still need another 5.
Yeah, it's always difficult. Now, I've only ever got to cast one 6-0 comeback.
Right.
And that happened pretty early in my Siege time.
In the 80s?
Yeah, back in the maybe early 90s.
Okay.
So it's very rare. That's all I'm trying to say in terms of referencing that, right? It's not something that happens very often. I think we see a lot more like 5-1s, clearly 4-2s, but 6-0s into 6-6 does not happen all that often. Every now and then, sure. Blue Moon, it can happen.
It's possible.
It's only possible.
It's the beauty of this
Is
game.
Consulate the map, though, on defense where it's...
After fighting tooth and nail in an incredibly back-and-forth map pick, finally SCARZ are able to secure their own. And this is an incredible feat nonetheless, because we had certain expectations coming into this game here, Lax, and a first map win for SCARZ was not it.
I'm going to be completely honest. I thought this was going to be a Los map and a Los game in general. I thought Los was the stronger team coming into this matchup. I was wrong. Entirely wrong.
It's okay.
It was still a close game nonetheless, but SCARZ are looking good.
I said in the pregame that SCARZ are the only team with a better attacking win rate than defensive win rate. And I kind of knew based on the numbers that, okay, yeah, they're a good attacking team. But I hadn't I don't know if I necessarily had sat down and watched a real SCARZ game front to finish, analyzing their attacks like this match. They were quite good on those pushes. The roam clear that was coming through, the coordination on some of the little plays they were making, like the castle barricade to bait to open it up. There was some really cool stuff going on from SCARZ. Not all perfect, some iffy moments, but on the whole, really impressed by those pushes.
Yeah. In terms as well, when it comes to the attacks, you said you haven't really had a chance to sit down and analyze it. This time around you did, so give us a T.
Yeah, again, I think the coordination on some of those, right? Rounds 5 and 6 in particular were the main ones where I saw really well coordination. Round 5 was the full basement roam clear where they found 3 picks on the roam. Really well put together. You had players outside. It was, in a sense, like splitting people up. You could call it split theory or whatever you want to call it, but you've got these multiple angles coming through, but the coordination is still there. That's usually where the difficulties come in. It's harder to coordinate when you're so split apart, but they did it fantastically. And round 6 as well, again, just a little bait with the castle barricade. I thought it was brilliant.
No, overall, we know that they're a strong attacking team, like you said, and we see it here displayed. My biggest worry was going to be their defenses. Their defense is what they've been struggling the most, and you said when they go down, that's when they would obviously find some success. Right. But in this situation, they were actually getting the most picks. Actually, on attack, they had 4 opening picks. On defense, they had 4 opening picks. Sure, it came down to a 7-5 at the end of the day, but I think SCARZ really are learning from their mistakes from these recent matches.
And we're talking about SCARZ particularly, but I also want to highlight Los, because at one point in the game, they were really able to close that gap quite significantly. And if anything, they looked like the strong contenders to be able to close this one out. So what happened there?
As much as I want to say that Los did bring it back, I think that came came off on the end of SCARZ making the mistake that we've talked about where they lose the initial engagement, because we would see Wishoy, we would see Rek, they would get the first pick, and then they would immediately go try to find another kill, where if they just fell back, play the man advantage, it would have probably went more heavily favored in the SCARZ favor overall.
I will say, I agree that overall there were some mistakes going on from SCARZ defenses. There was that one really cool round from Los's attack where they came through with the Maverick torch on the basement, the Osa shields, the blitz running forward. That was super impressive to me. So I like that there are some ideas coming through, even though it's not their map pick. We're seeing some cool stuff from Los, and I hope we continue to see that on their own pick.
Yeah, highlighting that this is not theirs, we're going to be going into Skyscraper next, and that is actually Los's map pick. They feel confident enough to be able to take SCARZ to that server and punish them for their mistakes.
I mean, and this is the thing with Los specifically is, you know, you were trying to rat around the map. You were trying to lurk around the map, and SCARZ was finding you. They were picking you off. They were taking you one by one. This is another map where you can do that lurk. You can get around the map, but if you don't have the coordination with your roamers working fluidly around the map, you're going to find yourself not running into a lot of success, and SCARZ will be shutting that down.
Yeah, we watched Virtus Pro versus W7M the other day, and I thought that was a great example of a Skyscraper game where the roam game just completely got away from them. The attackers could not figure out how to pinch those players. I don't think SCARZ are going to have that issue. VP struggled with that horrendously. I don't think SCARZ are going to have that problem because we've seen how coordinated, how well they're able to cut players off when they're trying to rotate back to site, rotate back to where they were. Skyscraper, I will say for SCARZ, it's ironically a very rare map to see in the Japanese League. They've played it 4 times this year. All of them were internationally. They beat FaZe Clan on this map way back in stage 1, but then they did lose it back to back to back, Nip, Eminem, Fury. So some tough losses coming through there, but again, with the momentum behind them, I think SCARZ are looking all right.
Yeah, looking as well in terms of this Skyscraper being their own map pick, where you've talked specifically about SCARZ and how good they have been in terms of improving consistently throughout the tournament. Are you noticing adaptation from the side of SCARZ being potentially a little bit quicker than that of Los?
Well, I was actually talking to their general manager, and he was saying that they're having a problem right now of figuring out the identity of knowing when to play passive and knowing when to be aggressive. And he was saying yesterday they played way too passive, so now they're trying to find this counterbalance of just a mixture of it. And that's really Siege in general. You have to know when you need to get aggressive, and you have to know when to play passive. It's literally the basic fundamentals of Siege, and you get punished when you don't follow those regular fundamentals. So I don't think SCARZ is necessarily implementing anything more than they're just trying to find the right balance of how to figure out the correct approach to whatever that situation is.
Certainly, and I think, you know, this was a bit of a rough match for Los, especially on some of those defenses, right? But I think coming into their own map pick, you know, this is a map that Skyscraper has been very famous for Los in a lot of ways. This was the map where they got the massive upset over Dark Zero in Atlanta, the game that qualified them to this event at the Six Invitational. It was the game as well, the map that they played against the Sonics just the other day. So it's a map they're very familiar with. We talked in the pregame about how they've got so many different strategies, the way they bring out the castles and the Miras versus sometimes when they're just playing more traditionally, trying to run around a bit more. We've seen a lot of different styles from Los on this map, and because we're going to somewhere where they're a lot more comfortable, I think it's going to be a more even game overall, and hopefully we'll see the team that made it to the Major Grand Finals.
Well, hopefully you're right, and I hope you get to see your Los as well, because we are officially ready to head into the game. So map number 2, Sky, coming up with Los up against SCARZ.
Hello and welcome back, and indeed we will be headed towards that second map, Skyscraper, very soon. After, well, for many could have been quite a surprising performance that we've seen from SCARZ.
Yeah, map number 1 going the way of SCARZ. I mean, it was their pick, but I think they probably performed a little bit better than expected. We jump into map number 2. I would love to share the same positivity as the desk. I'm not fully convinced that that momentum, that confidence will transition over towards Skyscraper, which can be very, very challenging to attack. But thankfully for SCARZ, they are starting out on the defense, right? So they can get themselves off to a decent little start here, apply the pressure to Los, who then have to show the initiative.
Yeah, maybe spot out 1 or 2 ideas, you know, like see some weaknesses as well in their play. Maybe you can even play a bit more of that mental in the end. SCARZ banning out the Montagne, of course. Did that in the previous round as well. It's always like not really a crutch, but if things go south, you can always rely on the good old reliable Montaigne to at least shepherd out the roamers for you. So
yeah, I mean, especially SCARZ, and I mean, Japan has a history of having really good Monty players, so it's not too unsurprising. Grim saw a bit of play over on Night Haven Labs, but it won't here over on Skyscraper, nor will the Fenrir taken off the board. Another operator that did have an appearance on map number 1 locked out. That leaves, of course, plenty of other powerful defenders still up, and that definitely will as well. Now, Bandit can be quite effective when you think about the main exterior breaches here on Skyscraper, but I think most notably it means that the Azami is still up, the Solus,
Yeah.
the Valkyrie.
I was just thinking, Azami on this map is quite powerful. I mean, any map is powerful, but it's like you just start thinking about like the small corridors that you have, or Drum, for example. That's just going to be hell to deal with now.
Yeah.
We're going to probably see some frag grenades, or at least some explosives that need to be used to get rid of those keeper barriers, especially if we see a lot of them stacked up in the same room.
Yeah, the Flores will be impactful, of course, goes without saying. Ace as well, if needed. Even Hibana can be an effective tool in dealing with those keeper barriers, and we'll see how much playtime it gets here as we kick off the half. Of course, again, SCARZ, to reiterate, they are on the defense, and an opportunity for them to mount rounds, and in doing so, apply pressure to Lost, who are the expected team to win out this series. I was going to say for many, but I mean, on the social vote, I think SCARZ are just edging out. But I think realistically, Lost have every world in which they can flip this series.
I mean, the swaps, right? Like after every map, people just move their vote from one team to the next. I actually wanted to point out the Jaeger, tell you, on the M870.
He did it on the last map too.
Yeah, he did it on the last map too, and he's going to do it here as well. I think he's going to be playing around either one of the staircases or, you know, just a close angle in general. You have plenty of those in Skyscrapers, so it can always work out. Drones, oh, that's the player that's droning, but does he know about the player that's on the cover? No, he does not! And Maya able to pick up the cover out there. That's a free entry for Lowe's.
Special charge. Stay clear.
Yeah, a little bit ambitious there from Rek.
He didn't even check his... He just instantly jumped out, checked left. Didn't even look right ahead of him where the person was located.
Yeah. Not that it probably would have mattered. I think he probably still would have lost the fight, but yeah, you're definitely right. It means now that SCARZ are playing at a man disadvantage for their first defense. And if Lost are allowed to get off to a solid start here, things may unravel for SCARZ. Maya, a clean second pick for his team. And things are going from bad to worse in round number 1 here for SCARZ. Bad to worse to really, really bad. I don't know what just happened there.
I think we're continuing round 12 of the previous map from the opposite sides.
The chaos has just bled into map 2.
Way too aggressive. Let's do it like that. Loba taking some damage. Will eventually find the kill to Waishoi as well. Leaving only up to Pion, who's just been spotted. And you know what that means? Hey, this site is clear. Everybody's going to be just beelining right through it. Because they know there needs to be a retake. Pion will be able to take down the first as the plant will go down on the side of Dots. He knows he's being chased by at least one. That's actually 2 players going down towards the barbecue side. And he just gets wall banged off. There was no chance there. Yep. Yeah, I mean... We can go really deeply into this, or we just say the 2 people that jumped out and the third one was a bit unlucky and everything just fell apart.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think I have much more to add. Everything that SCARZ tried in that round, they just fell flat on their face. And look, to the credit of Lost, great read from Maya, so he punishes that one. Second shot right there, very, very sharp. Claymore there, well, you get an MVP award. Loban as well, hitting a nice little shoulder peek. Probably not going to get an attack as easy as that though for the rest of the half.
No,
so
I think that was maybe the easiest one they'll have. But we never know. We never know how things will go out, you know. But I wouldn't expect the rest to be easier than what we've just had.
No.
Back towards T and karaoke, so they are going to do for the rerun on the side of SCARZ, and making sure that this time they can hold on. Pretty similar kind of approach is being made here. Of course, last time we did see the opening of the exhibition wall.
5 seconds left before insertion.
It's a bit harder for Uzami to play out there. And it was a bit of poor timing as well, right? I mean, like the drone comes in from the half bar, you shoot the drone, you stand up, and at that moment someone is just out there, instantly takes your head off. It's like good coordination for the side of Lowe's, but it's like, what could you have done when you're behind that bar? Dots is cooking something. Are they just going quickly inside of karaoke?
Yeah, potentially. So Dimara in play. Call comes out from cameraman, 1 top black. Geisha being worked as well. So a couple of different points of interest here for the attack, and Lost will get a feel as to which part of the map they wish to exploit. As Dots will remain outside for now, actually repelling in spawn for a line of sight. Position that we don't see played every day of the week, but sets himself up nicely for the push in with the grapple.
What are they waiting for? Because there's no one else. Just look at the overhead that we haven't.
Yeah.
There's no one.
It's just Tayu. If he's cleared, good luck defending site.
I mean, we also have Pyeon that is of course on the black stairs, has an opportunity to quickly rotate around. Cameraman could hold that off theoretically from the balcony. So yeah, it really does come only down towards the Jaeger.
And that's why we're seeing a bit of pressure in through D. The flashes to come through, and Dots will send it in, but he's shut down by Tayu. The flashes land, but a little bit too late. Loeb now to play follow-up, and able to collect one, makes it 2. So good work here from the Finca. Traded out though. So the defense sturdy. Minute 20 on the clock, and the diffuser needs to be recollected by Loss.
Dash finds himself in the phase area, holding off towards Drum, holding off the staircase as well. Maya coming in from below. Have them been hurt? Yes! Waiting for a Pyeon, takes down Maya. Only 2 men left standing now on the side of Los, and of course they fought it back. Looks like the diffuser dropped in such an unfortunate position. Has been recovered by Dash now. Attempt on the plant will be going down. Cameraman is there for the support. There is some verticality that is being attempted, but it's going to be at the wrong spot. They do not know exactly where it's happening. Dash is trying to dash out of the way and get himself out of the window, but instead finds himself in the middle of 2 of those defending players. That means the last one coming up with the black stairs as well. Smoke canisters used to try and dislocate, and they could just go for the defuse now. There's nothing that Cameraman can do from the current position with all the smoke canisters going through, and indeed it's exactly what they do. It's right behind. The super shorty comes in. It's not going to be enough. The counter defuse will be there. SCARZ able to find themselves that round. That was a very weird round as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's good work from Tayu on the Jaeger, right? He has to deny the Amaru when that grapple comes through. I'm presuming that he wasn't flashed when that came through.
No,
we might get a look at it on the replay. I know he got flashed post the kill. Maybe he got one while he was flashed as well. Hard to tell in the moment.
I think the first Canela didn't roll far enough because it was right on the corner.
Right.
And then the second one actually rolled into the hallway on the face there, and that actually got him. But
a small little place. Misplay then perhaps for Loss. Compounds into the round being very awkward to recover. Obviously, diffuser needed to be recollected. Yeah, that was post the push through.
Yeah.
Logan did a good job, right? He does collect 2 here and keep the round alive, but Fishlike eventually finds the trade, and then Cameraman, who is left in the 1 versus 3. Good smoke util dumpage from the smoke. And there wasn't a whole lot Loss could do from that position.
again, right? Like you just use those smokes and the last player, what can they do? I mean, either they push you and you know you have 2 players waiting for them, and the last one's counter defusing behind a reinforced wall. So even if they manage to break through, don't even know if there was enough time to actually find the player that was going for the counter defuse in the end there. The SCARZ find themselves with a round on the board as well after a very dominating first round coming in from Lowe's. We do again see the Amaru though in the hands of Lowen. Surely not going to be trying to get in to the side this way around. This might just be used for a bit of quick pace once they realize what's safe and what's not, so they can get an early man in. Repelling is, of course, the name of the game here on Skyscraper. Basically, all the time you have at least someone on the rappel from one of the balconies or windows.
Keep us sitting pretty.
Well, could this be the round where we see the influence of those Kiba barriers really come into play for Asami? Talked about it a little bit during the ban phase, the ability to fortify positions that you wouldn't otherwise be able to hold, and just forcing the attack to bring perhaps a little bit more in the way of explosive utility to deal with said barricades. Bashoy on the Asami this time around and playing, you know, pretty firm contact position. Elsewhere on the other side of the map, it stops with the diffuser in hand. There's an Amaru down below with the Supernova. Fishlike needs to be mindful of that presence down below. The push through, well, it works out for Lost. They get the first 2 here in the 3rd round.
I think it's both like near the same area as well. So both the players around Geisha shut down. Was showing now, trying to push in towards the black stairs. Has a yellow ping to come through. Doesn't quite connect the shots. As Dash takes then Tayo, it's only up to him and Pyeon now in a 2v5 situation. Pyeon trying to lean into a fight. Will find the very first. That at least holds off a bit of the pressure onto the side as it hears a rappel down onto the balcony as well. Has the opportunity to go aggressive, but of course doesn't really want to risk his life too much. Cameraman going over to the opposite side of things, looking if he can maybe assist the rest of his team. It's better to potentially push it as a 4 now, rather than just giving the 1v1 fight. As Washoy gets completely flashbang, he's going to use those keeper barriers to buy himself a way out, to get himself out of harm's way, and maybe get himself into a bit of an unexpected position to go for the next fight.
Well, 50 seconds on the clock then. And around like this, you would anticipate Lost will be able to convert as Washoy is pushed back. Pyeon alongside on the other objective on that A site. Cameraman can lock that position down as well with the breach exposing said spot. Logan with the drone to come forward off the back of that EMP to help confirm these positions. Cameraman to dual drone as well. Pyeon to try and deal with those. Time starting to dwindle a little bit here though for Lost. They have to be careful.
They're all going in from the exhibition side though. They saw the rotate come out, and as Washoy will take down Maya, at least it goes back into a slightly more equal kind of game. But I believe that Diffuser and Dots is now on the side. They have the opportunity to go for the plant, and that's exactly what they try and achieve. And with the cover being there outside from Cameraman, 45 will now be counting down in favor of Lowe's. That's going to be up for the retake potential, but Lowe's shut it down before he can even get going. Find themselves up with the 2-1 score.
Yeah, I'm liking what we saw there, especially on the map clear for Lost. Pretty definitive in the way they were able to get control on that top black stairs position, hold the hallway, prevent the cross back towards the objective. 2 kills to open up the piece was always going to make it a challenge for SCARZ. And try as Washoy might on that Azami to, you know, slow that push down. He didn't have really enough time to play into, and ultimately falls with Lost having the opportunity to drone and confirm the positions of those defenders late. There is that initial push. It was
How did Dash get one out of there?
Took a bite, not too sure. Gets a second through the barricade as well, so Dash on fire.
5 seconds to go.
And then here is that replay, of course, at the end as well. Pretty clinical from Lost. SCARZ to rotate over to Kitchen Barbecue for round 4.
Yeah, Emmy and I used to call this the hungriest side of them all. You have barbecue, you have kitchen right next to that sushi restaurant. So, I mean, this is the restaurant area. It's just all food that we have down there in terms of call-outs.
5 seconds
Supply
left.
room. Just keeps going. Glass on the board. Also the Gridlock bringing in some frag grenades, but more importantly the Track Stingers. And we also have the Nomad. That's a lot of flank potential, or flank watch potential rather, that is out there on the side of Lowe's.
Quite intrigued to see how the Glaz will be leveraged in this round. Of course, now pretty self-sufficient with smoke grenades added to his kit. So you don't have to be as reliant on a teammate to combine, and it means that he can perhaps play a little bit more of an isolated position. I don't think we've really seen teams fully unlock the potential of that combo just yet here at SI, but might be something that gets developed over time. Again, can be difficult sometimes to justify bringing the Glaz in the face of a lot of bulletproof utility, or utility that otherwise needs to be cleared with explosives.
And the Warden on the board, which basically just, you know, does the exact same thing as the Glasswood.
Yeah, for sure.
But with an automatic rifle, so.
Well, no Warden this time around, so they don't have to worry about that. But Taiyu may still pose a threat. He's on the frost this time, and he gets that first pick. Dash to fall, dots to creep forward. Both smokes used. So he'll be pretty eager to get some value from this push. Spots one, doesn't convert the pick, sees the shoulder of Washoy, doesn't win the fight. No trade to speak of, as cameraman elects not to immediately swing through, so a bit of a disconnect on that push, and the Diffuser is on an island. Washoy pops up. A double from him, and the round all but confirmed the way of SCARZ.
Actually get down by that grenade, I believe. Eventually covered off by cameraman, who shuts him down. 80 seconds left, and I was kind of wondering, why was there no direct response coming in as the Glass was pushing down the stairs? You had 2 people quite close. Cameraman gets down from the vertical low and will find himself with a kill on the board, but it's an effective 1-on-3 situation now with a minute left. Gets himself outside that building. He's going to try and see if he can maybe find a way to get cameraman back up, or to get himself towards the actual site. As Rat confirms, cameraman, he also knows that that is no longer an option now. Gets himself up into the T-room balcony. He's going to try and put up some pressure there, but Fishlike playing close with that Spas has a good opportunity. Air jumps are popping in the meantime, though, so Lobin will be very anxious to try and make something happen as Rat comes up from the black stairs, goes for a bit of a distraction. Fishlike hoping to go for a swing as well with that shotgun. Lobin with the pistol out now. Needs to go and reload both his weapons in just a second, but still manages to get the kill on Fishlike. The knife confirmed. Pistol will be reloaded, so will the ARX that they are using, but the drop to the side is already there, and with 20 seconds left on the clock, it's a lot of time and ground that needs to be made up by Lobin, especially when pinged, and as soon as he drops off the balcony, it is Rack that was ready for him and catches him off guard.
Well, a good attempt there from Lobin, but always a tall order to convert a 1 versus 3 in Siege. That conversion rate very, very low, and SCARZ doing a good job to lock out the round. By doing so, we've now evened the scoreline once again to a piece. SCARZ now unlocking the primary rotation, so they'll be able to go back to karaoke this time around. So a pretty influential round there, winning the tertiary. We'll see if that has a ripple effect for the next 2 rounds. If SCARZ are able to extend the lead here potentially, 4-2, especially on their opponent's map pick, it actually looks pretty positive for them.
Still looking like, why did Dats push up there? I don't understand. Especially because the grenade came in right afterwards. Like, you could have tossed in the grenade first and then push in right afterwards as soon as they're forced to rotate out, but... Or, even better, grab the Bearing 9 on that close range rather than the DMR.
Yeah, true. I mean, I think he committed that smoke util, and in the back of his mind, he's like,
so I need to
if I've used it now, I have to get something from it. Otherwise, I could have just saved it for later. Probably just needed, as you mentioned, right, that extra layer of util, whether it be the frag grenade or just pull out maybe the Bearing 9 at that kind of range. Oh well, something to keep in mind later on if they have to clear black stairs.
Oh, jump out again. Last couple of times were very wrong when they try to go for a jump out, but surely 3 times a charm. Might have just been waiting for a repel sound. See if he can catch one off guard if they go up on that side of the balcony. Because he hasn't opened up the window, he hasn't prepped the window. So that means it must be trying to open up as soon as someone is repelling on that side. I think that's exactly what cameraman's doing right now.
Activating drone. Attackers have located a bomb. Barricaded.
So the Osa in play, though, for round 5. So I think, once again, this will be spearheaded from that top black stairs position. Capital as well. So there's bolts to create space and can be used to cover a couple of different lines of sight for this particular push. Dots needs to be mindful, though, of that jump out from behind, but it is being monitored.
They know.
By the attack.
He runs off. He's not going to try and take the fight. I mean, of course, they're there with like 3 people or something, but, you know, he's going to fall off at that point. Keeper Bears are being used. So are the Finka Chargers. They're trying to make some push happen here around the black stairs as Lobin is coming around. And, of course, with the incendiary boss should be supposed to help. But Pion gets that kill onto Lobin. Still down on the bottom of that black stairs. Takes a little bit more damage, but as long as he's alive, he's going to be a mess to deal with. Oh, the ADS, I believe, just recharged and got the first grenade, and now the second one gets tossed in, doesn't get anything. The repel comes through, and Pion just shuts him down as well. What is Los trying to achieve here?
Black stairs not going their way. 2 rounds back to back. They struggle to flush out that position, and SCARZ anchor it really nicely.
Drone deployed.
A 5 versus 3. Tayu has this window on lockdown as well. The only way Lost win this round is if picks are fed their way. Not the case. Dot's still outside. A key player, a key operator in this round. Slapped down. Flawless from SCARZ and questions posed of Lost.
Again, the obsession with taking that black stairs under control. 2 players repelling in from the window, not being able to connect. A little bit of a disconnect with the frag grenades being used and being caught off by the ADSs, which I believe were actually there because I thought I heard like the little recharge noise. I'm not sure if I'm alone in that. And SCARZ find themselves with 3 rounds onto their defense, looking for a 4th. If they manage to pick that one up, again, they set themselves up for a pretty decent second half to come through. Now, of course, the attack is more difficult than the defense, especially with the meta that we're currently in. As we see Pion here again, just holding off the bottom of the black stairs out there. And okay, I like that little thing with the Keeper Bears where you basically make it that you have to crouch or prone underneath if you want to go and pick a challenge. But if you do that, you already lost your head. because someone is watching that on the opposite side. You're never going to be winning that. So it forces you to get rid of that keeper barrier, and if you can't, well, good luck taking the fight.
10 seconds to go. 5 seconds left.
Round 6 then. And we prepare ourselves for SCAR's final defensive effort in regulation. And I think they'll be quite confident after the last 2 rounds, especially the way in which they've been able to hold power positions and the inability for Lost to clear them. Red hiding inside a bathroom at the moment, perhaps just trying to shine away from the drones. Perhaps make it a little bit more challenging for Lost to have that read. They'll spawn quite direct though, so not initially going for a map clear. Ace the singular hard breach. Buck to help open up the wall. And we'll see if Lost want to actually split this attack or look to go head on.
Now, this is something we often see on the side of Clubhouse, right? The double wall that you have on the CCTV often gets a mirror on top of it to stop any from the openings from happening. What we usually see here is like an opening being made on the side of the wall so you can impact underneath. But with the bug being so prevalent, like they're just going to open up that wall and kind of defeats the whole point. So I'm just wondering if that might be an option to have at some point. Just put a mirror window down there, open it up. Sure, it's an angle, but at least you can stop them from opening up the wall and have real pressure from there.
One mirror window facing towards that breach has been displaced. Washoi's flashed out dots and he's not happy with that one. Washoi's good for 2. Pyun added to the kill feed as well. Lost crumbling in these last few rounds, it must be said. Yes, attacking, it is a challenge at the moment. That can't be understated. But the way in which these rounds have played out, they have been messy, they have been sloppy, and we have high expectations. These guys were the runners-up at Atlanta, but SCARZ toying with them at the moment on defense.
Maya from the breach out here looking to walk in, gets himself up quite close. Pyun takes down his teammate though. And as Maya drops by the hands of Rek, it is SCARZ currently leading 4-2. And I think many would have expected Lowe's to be able to clean up this game nice and easily. And now they find themselves with a pretty bad half after their attack. I think we would have expected them to pick up 3 rounds or something like that. We just saw something from the other stream that happened there. That is insane.
So, spoiler alert for the Bravo stream. When we were in the green room getting ready for map 2 of our series here on the primary stream, W7M were beating Liquid, was it 6-0?
6-0.
Liquid have flipped that around and won 8-7.
That is insane.
What?
That is insane. It was even 7-6 over W7M at one point, but it managed to turn it around. Fair well done for Liquid. I mean, they've had a rough event as well so far. The same for W7M, to be fair. It's not been smooth sailing for any of the LATAM teams. All right, 2-4. We see the swap now happening on our side of the stream. We are headed towards Exhibition first. And SCARZ, well, APAC might be able to take out another series win here today. As they find themselves up 2-4. 3 rounds they need to find on the attack, and they get themselves success. Or 2 to guarantee overtime, and then you might have an opportunity to do what is needed in overtime itself.
Attackers drop the diffuser. Attackers recover the diffuser.
Yeah, let's see how proficient SCARZ end up being here on the attack. IQ in play. Interesting decision, given the defensive composition here, I suppose can help spot out those electro claws if required, and Thatcher can follow up with util. Early aggression from Lost, the run out. As those said, EMPs will come through. Simple wall dealt with by Tayo on the Thermite. Mindful of the jump out, of course, but that won't be committed to by Lost, who are probably still reeling after the last few rounds, not going their way.
You saw it on the face of Dats. He's like, just went all the way back over. He's like, I give up. I don't know what to do. It's just been absolutely styled on as the IQ just used there to get rid of the Electro Claw, of the Mute Jammer that was placed as well. It's going to be quite difficult now to actually get that control. So I actually like the pick of the IQ here, just taking care of those Mute Jammers, which can, of course, be such a pain, especially if you want to get your drone game on point and in-game. You know, there is still a bunch of them out there 5 of them left for play for SCARZ. So as they start opening up vertically now as well with the Ash, trying to get that vertical pressure in the places it's needed.
So minute 25 then on the clock. As Washoy will continue this lurk down below, you can see the triangle with both the IQ and the Thatcher. They'll rotate off though, instead emphasizing their efforts now over towards the objective itself, and they need to do a job in displacing these defenders on site who, as we can see on the overhead, aren't really under a whole lot of direct pressure at the moment. That will come through though now as the Thermite will sneak forward. There is some information available here for the attack to link into, and we'll see if SCARZ can connect the dots on this attack.
I think it's too one-directional. They're all just trying to push in from this one breach and maybe from the Samurai window. I don't think you're going to be able to stick that as the opening is coming through. You see Rack being taken out by Lobin there. The entry, the exothermic gets removed as well by the impact grenade. And there's 35 seconds left. You need to make a move, SCARZ. You cannot just continue waiting here as Pion starts bashing into the keeper barrier. He's going to be pulling away the attention of Maya, but it's all just going towards Low. It's a flawless round to respond after how that round went previously.
Well, that was disappointing for the attack of SCARZ. It really did fall apart.
It's too one-dimensional.
I agree. Too one-dimensional, and I mean, sometimes that can kind of work, but you need to have direct pressure on the defense, and more importantly, even on top of all of that, information. They had nothing. Going in blind, breach not opened up after the back of the impact, and yeah, I agree with Lobin's hand gesture there. Just kind of like, what was that?
It's like either they needed some more verticality, like use a buck to open it below so that, you know, their places are a bit made uncomfortable, or you would have needed like a Dokkaebi to go for calls, or you would have needed a Lion to be used for making sure that they wouldn't be moving as soon as you go for the execute. But instead, like, it was just focusing on opening up the 2 walls and then trying to go for a push in. They didn't even open up one of the walls properly. So it's a bit of a disappointment on that round there, but hey, it is going to be locked for the next 3, so there's opportunity for SCARZ to find some success on the others. On T, and well, probably would be barbecue right afterwards. So let's see how far they can come over
5
there.
seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, I wasn't a huge fan of the attacking composition we saw from SCARZ. The IQ in hindsight was a little bit unnecessary. So we'll see a bit of a switch up here into round 8 for what has become a little bit more on meta for the most part. There's Zofia with explosives, can counter the keeper barriers, and then more importantly for the execute itself, we have that Ying and Dokkaebi combo, which can be challenging to deal with. Wreck as well on the Nomad, so once SCARZ gains space, they can protect it and make it challenging for Lost to play a retake. The attack will be spearheaded through Geisha, but by the looks of things, Tayu makes his way over towards that breach, and it will be opening up, I believe, uncontested, unless there's a mute on it, which I don't think there is.
Different angle on it. They want to open it up a bit closer rather than as wide, just to provide some security for the people on the balcony, I reckon. What I'm worried about is potential frost mats, as we do have a frost on the board. Where has cameraman placed them? Now, there's 2 of them underneath that main window. You do not want to go for a jump it. I don't expect them to, considering they've just opened up the wall. And with the Candelas coming out, you kind of want to use the free room. Oh, that's actually quite smart. With Lobin out there, C4 will come through, will blow up a little bit early, not deal enough damage as well. Washoy will be able to take down cameraman.
Cameraman, you could see coming out to the rest of the team that the pressure's coming their way. SCARZ on that initial push out on top, a 3 versus 2, and Maya forced to the back of T-Room. I think he spotted one in through Geisha, slither of that silhouette. Swings for the second, and the shots do land, but Rek still standing. Tayu to go for the plant, and that coverage from Rek needs to be on point, but the sneak through Geisha, too little too late in denying, but Tayu under a lot of pressure.
Shotguns are starting to come through as Maya will find Rack, and there comes a shotgun as well. You might have been able to get that plan down, but quickly denied by the side of Los, who now will be equalizing the score, get us up back towards a 4-4 scoreline. And now the tertiary side's coming in, and this one is the most important for SCARZ. If they manage to find success here, and again get that plan down, but this time confirm it, that's when they have the opportunity to push us at least towards an overtime, where they have the opportunity to lock it off in 3 maps, or 2 maps.
Yeah, I mean, you lose the tertiary and it starts to look pretty dire, I think, for SCARZ. I don't think that these attacks have inspired much confidence in us, and probably not the team as well. They are struggling at the moment to break down this defense. I don't know if they're perhaps a little bit too linear. I don't think focusing on Geesh is too much of an issue there, but probably needed a pinch elsewhere. I think that came from Rec, but ultimately he was low on HP and had to play quite passive. Let's look at the replay package and try and break it down. At this point, 2 versus 3, so SCARZ with the advantage. Loban, though, to advance and made the right call to actually flank through Geisha. And despite that smoke grenade on the floor providing some coverage for the plant, ultimately not enough, and the synergy and the coordination in the 2 versus 1 there from Lost didn't go astray. So a good start to the half from them. Again, if you're just joining, perhaps from the B stream, Lost had some big coordination issues on their last couple of attacks, and we thought that maybe that would bleed here into the second half, but yeah, not to be so far.
I have to say though, SCARZ's attack in that last round looked quite well, but then I think they started focusing the plan too soon, because they had a 1-man, a 2-man advantage. If they would have slowed it down a little bit more and started locking on the re-entry angles of the defenders, they might have been able to get yet another kill in. Because they were playing that trade game, they had a safer opportunity to actually go for a plant, to actually go for a play. Because right now it was just 2 1v1s whilst the plant was going through, which eventually did not go right. But we do have barbecue. It is that floor right underneath karaoke. Verticality will be quite important here, and you see it as SCARZ is paying attention to it. They are fine. For a second there, I thought Bjorn was actually going to open up at the moment someone was walking by. I mean, he is looking there for a reason. He's just waiting for some noise, which he just had as that barricade went up. He's like, I think he just barricaded the door out there. It's going to be slowing them down slightly. C4 underneath. Going to be blowing up. Might have actually just... Oh, no, because it's on the other side of the reinforcement. So still going to have to use some soft breach to open that one up.
Yeah, that's Dash inside of Geisha, and his position will be exposed once the wall is worked here by the Maverick. As you can see, now complete, wall soft. Washoy will likely come across to open that up, or Pune, obviously, with a breaching charge, can get that job done if required. SCARZ looking for top control to then pressure down below in towards kitchen. The Warden, though, to hold firm. Again, that's Dash. And we'll see if the Warden can have an influence on this round and on holding this presence up above. He gets taken low, but still survives.
Can use an EMP. He's not going to be able to use his glasses at that point, and then your flashbangs are going to be coming in clutch again. He's just going to be able to use his gadget right now and not get any punishment for it. His dots will be coming in and will take down Tayu. You see them rotating back out now. Dash going back behind the boxes, trying to find himself some security. Rack will find Maya, though. There's still the pressure onto Geisha's coming in, but this time also from the top of Black. So definitely trying to clutch into that one position because it is so important. It's direct verticality above, but Dash finds on more. The C4 will find another, and suddenly it's only up to the Sophia up on the rappel, who's trying to recover that diffuser. Probably gonna get shot as soon as he repels in. Ghost Bro now is expecting the runouts to come through. That's one pickup, but there's still 3 more to find. Actually spots one other. But Dots is a little bit quicker on the trigger there.
Yeah, major misplay there from SCARZ. As you mentioned, they had the Thatcher EMPs available. And if you're going to play the Maverick, those EMPs need to be redistributed elsewhere. 2 key interactions where they could have been used, one against the Magnets, and then secondary against the Warden. Now, understandably, that particular interaction is quite rare, so it's not going to be at the forefront. But at this level, that's the kind of deeper thinking you need on attack.
You saw Maverick tossing 2 flashbangs. It's like, it's not going to do anything with the Warden there. It's like, you gotta make sure he doesn't have those glasses available. That's why you want to use that EMP, just to disable those gadgets. And it's not like you were going to use them anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's like you were looking at the setup, it's like, great, this is like quite literally the only place that it would matter to use those EMPs. So it's unfortunate that they didn't, you know, realize that in time and fell afterwards. Might be a call they'll make later on. But it's a full rotation now from the side of Lost. And we're going back towards Exhibition, which was a very one-dimensional round from the side of SCARZ, but also a very one-sided round as Lowe's just not receiving any pressure, just completely shutting them down, or right next to the breach, waiting for someone to make a push happen. So they definitely need to change something up there.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb and defuse it.
At least they have the line and the Dokkaebi I talked about before. They need something to stop the movement, or at least be aware of it.
Yeah, double globals for this round. I don't believe we've seen that in the match thus far. So we'll see if the crowd control effect of that will be impactful. I think for SCARZ outside of that, you know, fundamentally most of their structure has actually been okay. Again, it's just sort of identifying and then flushing out. defensive strongholds has been a problem. And that's not just been exclusive to SCARZ, to be fair. Loss also had problems on their attack. Again, just highlighting that it is a challenge at the moment.
Where's Tubarao, by the way? They could have used his auto canister to make sure that wall stays shut.
He's a long way away. He's sipping a tea in Geisha.
Yeah, I guess. I was just thinking of the fact, like, they opened it up the last round as well with a double EMP. If you manage to put a auto canister on it, suddenly there's one EMP left. You have 3 auto canisters. You could keep that wall shut quite easily. But it is what it is. I'm not going to talk too much about it. Instead, he's going to keep the Geisha wall shut, I hope, at least with the auto. Yeah, there it is. Gets deployed, and that means that, you know, actually it's time to get back up. His dash takes a lot of damage from the buck down below. Is actually one-shot walking back by. I'm not quite sure what the plan was there. Fishlight taking 1 down, taking 2 down. The double opening is going to be there for SCARZ nonetheless. He's not going to try and go and hack those cams. Instead, he's going to be putting his attention to the actual first floor, unaware of the fact that there's any roamers coming through his mind like it's full-flashed.
An opportunistic play there from Fishlight, unlocking the round for SCARZ in a rather unexpected fashion. Still though tricky to convert. Definitely cannot rule out Lost being able to bring this one back. Still util standing, still powerful positions held. Only a minute on the clock, and SCARZ still need to clear the majority of the map.
Flashbang's coming through. You can expect the E1D to come in as well right now. Maya, again, fully blinded, has no idea where the actual push is coming from. But Rek will be held back by the keeper barrier that has been placed just now. And it's just going to be redeployed out there, just trying to make sure that he can at least get 1v1 out of it. But it should be up to SCARZ to time it right. As soon as that window pops, they need to be swinging both at the same time towards the player onto the Dragon. Maya holding this one out. The drone actually giving away the information to repel on the long angle. The double flashbang is going to be forcing him all the way back towards the side. Dots is trying to hold the cover here, but at least they've shepherded him back towards the side with 20 seconds left. Well, there's not a lot of time. They need to start making a move, and they're all still pretty far removed. But Pion taking down Lobin definitely will be opening up an opportunity here as he goes down himself. Dots holding on as strong as he possibly can. The last one standing will find yet another kill before he gets shut down from the staircase. And that is going to be putting SCARZ back into equal footing, back towards a 5-5.
Fishlight the MVP of that round. 2 unanswered picks to kick things off. And then credit to the rest of SCARZ in converting that in a relatively sound fashion. It did take about 40 seconds for the final push to be formulated, but I think they were just doing their due diligence, mindful of the key positions held, using flashes to flush them out, and then making sure that those remaining defenders on site were dealt with swiftly. Lost in response to that said round will take a tactical time out. They're one and only for the map. 5-5 scoreline.
So this is the thing about these tactical timeouts. It will work both ways. SCARZ is also going to have the opportunity to talk with one another and try and get themselves back into it. But if I'm thinking about it, Lowe's isn't doing that much wrong. They've lost 2 rounds, like the 8th and the just one that we had just now, but overall, Lowe's has been doing quite well. SCARZ really just, you know, managed to get the early opening there, the double one, which was unanswered for. And they managed to get that one underway. But they've made more mistakes, I feel, this half that they can benefit this tactical timeout from compared to Lowe's. And they still have one. So after this next round is lost by SCARZ, I assume we go right back into a tactical timeout.
Yeah, I would agree. I think for SCARZ, the longer the game prolongs, the more opportunities there's going to be for Lost to capitalize on mistakes. So we'll see how this tactical timeout impacts the head-to-head. Quick replay. Oh, Fishlight able to just sneak up. There was information there for SCARZ, so some good drone work feeding that to him. And then good teamwork to follow up on that final conversion. You can see they're quite pleased with that result.
Yeah.
The pressure was mounting, Haps. They had some struggles on the attack so far, and I'm sure those struggles will probably continue, but it's nice to get one on the board, and that can make the world of difference.
Read attack timeout, by the way. I actually made a mistake. They've only won 1 round, which was round 10. So overall, again, Lowe's has been pretty flawless in this half. They just got caught off guard in that one. Called a tactical timeout, but I think that will be favoring SCARZ because they've had the opportunity to basically see every site right now and see what went wrong everywhere. All they need to do is connect, well, 1 more for overtime, 2 more to lock it off.
So this will be a karaoke defense, but spearheaded on the opposing side of the map. We're sure to drain himself forward.
Is there
Attackers
someone
have
there?
recovered
That's
their
the
diffuser.
question. Now there is Dash. Hey, there he is.
Hello.
Tansy didn't see him. Oh.
Oh, good observing. Wow.
That's unfortunate. We'll give you the overhead view that we have instead then. In the meantime, we do see that the exhibition gets opened up. As, there we go. Fix has been found. Oh, well, sure, it will get taken down by the shotgun, though, by Lobin. And it's going to be a very unfortunate opener. And there was no response. I believe there was someone actually onto the rappel. Yeah, Lobin. No, not Lobin, sorry. Pion was on there. Just didn't decide that he wanted to go for a response and try and go for a trade. Maybe wanted to make sure. I don't know if you saw that, but it was like a disco going off on
I didn't.
in the house area just now. Sorry. Opening will be made into Geisha, and Tayoy trying to make sure that there's at least a little bit of pressure coming through. Dash, however, will find Rex, so definitely so far. Lowe's really good into this round.
Well, space now taken by Fish-like, the goo mine, to just stall his push through for a little while, but Lost vacating the area. They spread back towards site. Pyun double teamed by Lost. It's Lobin with the shotgun.
Oh, what could he do against that?
Absolutely nothing.
You were going to die anyway at that point. Like, you might have been able to hit like a single lucky shot, but yeah, that's accepting your faith and move on. As almost finding someone there. There's going to be some Cadelas popping off, but it's just a lock-off, a flawless round from Lost right after the tactical timeout to be called, and they find themselves up onto a map point now, heading towards either Exhibition or Barbecue.
Yeah, I do wonder if during that tack they made the conscious decision that in the forthcoming round they were going to be ultra aggressive, because that's exactly what they went for on that occasion, spearheaded by the swing outside the breach. SCARZ don't land the trade. Rest of the team then forced to make plays elsewhere, which don't work out. Double team from Lost main stairs. I mean, that's the kind of play that Lost back half of their attacking half, where they needed that kind of synergy, we just weren't seeing. But defensively, it looked very sound.
That might have just been like the call, right? Like, work together, be more aggressive, just make sure that you're shutting them down before you give them any opportunity to try and do something. And if that was the call, they definitely succeeded. You see it there, like, yes, we got this. Not too much pressure yet, I believe, on SCARZ. You see them pretty calm, pretty chill. You know, they're a single round away from pushing this towards an overtime where, I don't know who starts on the defense, but
10 seconds left.
of course they would be slightly favored.
5 seconds to go.
Well, match point then here for map number 2. And we'll see if Lost can double up with their aggression on the defense, which proved very successful in the previous round. The Alla in play from Lobin, who's been steadily climbing that kill count up to 16, and an aggressive setup outside for him to play around this time. Barbed wire, Alla mines, and a pre-fire.
There's 2 Ella mines there.
Well, he's dead anyway.
Yeah, it's dead anyway, but I mean, you could place them better. Either way, it is going to be a mirror window trick that we'll see. Just talking about this earlier. Boom! Try and deal with that. There's no way you're going to be getting that one open now. Dot has used both, though. Again, I really want to see it on the double wall out there. I want to see how that works, because, you know, that's usually one of the biggest pressure points that you really deal with. That's a direct walk-in, but you know, that's definitely going to be helping. That wall stays shut. They don't have to worry about VIP that much.
Well, an intriguing start to the round. Unfortunate for Lobin, but in terms of the util game, strong still for Loss. Will SCARZ sense blood in the water here, though? Will they be able to capitalize and push this game, or this map, to overturn? They'll still now need to put in a very solid attacking effort, though, and make minimal mistakes. It's Washoy to start the sweep over towards the T side of the map as Geisha gets opened up. Cameraman the next to be under the pump and under a bit of pressure here. Kayid's shotgun. Rotation to come through, communicating to the rest of his team that he may need some assistance. Oh, the butt to put him under pressure, but Cameraman given free passage back towards side.
Buck literally been like a step behind every single bit there, because if he would have fired a skeleton key like half a second earlier, that would have been so much damage gone from the side of cameraman. But at least shepherded back towards the site. You don't really have to worry about them as much anymore, as I believe there's a mirror window that just got popped, just to make sure that it's not going to be of a nuisance here. Swashoy trying to hold a fight and take a fight with that mirror, trying to go for some quick peeks from the shoulder, but Dot's not able to find anything. Washoy also backing off for now, reloading that skeleton key just for later use. The flashbangs are going through right at the moment that the Vector strikes, and fully blinded Dots will be able to find a kill. Wreck taking loads of damage as well as an impact EMP comes through. Toyoy will be able to take control off the side, but there's someone actually right behind the bomb chassis that he needs to spot out. Is he aware? Yes, he definitely is now. How are you going to be dealing with that? The mirror window's open. Maya will find another kill. It's only left up to Pion now in this 1v3. If he manages to clutch it, we are going towards overtime, but as he takes a lot of damage from VIP, it is not looking too strong for him. The time is ticking down slowly as well, and he gets shut down by Maya, so that means map 3 is going to be played.
The defense from Lost proving to be too difficult for SCARZ to break down. They do a good job in rebounding from what was a sloppy attacking half, but too good in the end. Map 3 now looms, and I think we're set for a pretty competitive series.
We are set for a pretty competitive series indeed, as 7-5, and before this we had a 7-5 on the opposite side of things. I mean, I said before as well, this could go 40 rounds, 45 rounds. I don't think we're going to be seeing that anymore. But again, definitely going to have a banger of a third map, Oregon, which is going to be the basics of all. Everybody knows how to play Oregon.
Yeah.
So it is truly going to be a coin flip of who's going to be taking this.
OT map 3?
OT map 3. Who knows? We will see. But we are going for a quick break on our stream. In the meantime, we will be broadcasting the B stream with a banger of a match themselves. Again, Liquid, who came back from 6-0 behind to a 8-7 victory to push themselves to a map 3. So enjoy.
This kitten, this plant down, nade with all of the smokes and the bolts that they can make. JV92, not sure if they've utilized their hard to reach charges onto the same positions they had before or elsewhere, but the rotate comes through now with about 28 seconds to go. It seems like no, the walls and the castle are still standing. So they're going to have to try and hot drop those hatches. I don't know if they've noticed yet, but they've dropped down on the wrong end of it. So they're just going to have to smash and breach their way onto this. With only 10 seconds, it's really a bit of a grab here. Resets is watching for the single player on the top. Lagonis went for a rotate, pulled back, changed his mind, and now he's firing at, well, nothing other than what he's been seen. Caught out, and oh, that's a bit of a rough one to swallow.
Yeah, a little bit strange considering the time left in that round. Certainly could have gone more for the plant to not. I think he eventually wanted to get to hatch, right? And in that moment, you want to get the vert. But the time was the issue, and the fact that they didn't have the numbers anyway. But a better round at least from Liquid. I'm trying to give them some plaudits because they at least did something a lot better than what they did in the first round, where it was just a 5-on-site stack. This time they forced W7M into that roam clear. It was actually rather effectual, but still W7M were just better, and they were able to deal with it. And that's the reason why they go on and win that round. Eventually got the plant, eventually rotated to server. It was late, opened up the castle barricade really easy with secondaries, and then of course got the win. This is the issue that we kind of had with the end of the last game though. I can't remember if you said it on here or off air, but it was like you go through all that comeback, you do this amazing 6-0 to 6-6 and you win the game. Don't now just go to bank and just revert back. Please come and, you know, come to the party.
I will take credit for saying that. It wasn't me. I went to get an energetic drink.
A refreshing
beverage.
Well, someone said it.
Someone said it, but I'll take credit. Yeah, it was me. I said it. I said it.
But how many
Taylor Swift said it.
How many times have we been in these scenarios there where Team A does this amazing comeback and then Team A sucks in the next match?
100%. It's happened so many times. It's happened an unfortunate amount of times. And you want to see them, I guess, keep some of that energy, some of that momentum, because is it an argument of how exhausting it is to do what is the toughest comeback? There's the questions of your, hyper-focusing, over-focusing, you get out of it, and suddenly all that exhaustion hits you, and you realize, oh, we've got to do this one more time. Wipe the sweat off your brow. We're back in. Whereas W7M, I'm not going to say they weren't giving it their 100%. They obviously are, but at the same time, you could feel the heat and the pressure. You could feel the tension of the hand holding the mouse that swung for all the kills in the side of Liquid, a lot more than you could for W7M. Then you take a breath and you go back into it, and it takes a little bit of time to really get yourself to that intensity. The drones are rolling around. They're going for the early catch. And so far, W7M has been very clear and concise at what they want to go for first.
Do wonder though for Liquid. Yeah, I mean resets 0-3. I was about to say he hasn't got any kills, he hasn't gotten involved. You kind of think back to Consulate, who was the circuit breaker. It was resets. The fact he dies early, one, no longer good. But two, he's also playing the Echo. That's someone you want absolutely alive, the longest, if possible, out of your entire operator lineup. And so the fact that he's dead really now makes this third round difficult for Liquid. At least Ness has been able to get his first kill of the game. A very important one as well for Leapbox and the Monty towards Long Desk. But of course, sight over towards Staff and Open. But a bit of vert now, at least for W7M.
They've lost the hard breach. They still have two sort of pockets in openers for the quad wall itself. And with Volps going down, they're losing the smoke canister. Was that vertical? They're going to get the player back up. It's a little bit curious. Did they just get caught? I am assuming, yeah, hit the rotate above the hatch and didn't quite expect the fight. A minute on, you could see W7M, they're weighing up just where they want to make their approach, hacking the cams and getting the coordination of everything involved, including any Valkyries that might still be around. The IQs in the pocket of Herds. You hope that they've been able to herd.
I don't think they're going to open up quad. I don't think they've got the time for it, and the Montang is the one who's got the secondary hard breaches, so clearly they're over towards stock. I think he's just going to go for a drop. I legitimately think this might just be a drop.
As is able to find one more. They've pulled themselves back to the little sliver of safety. They have at least one F-dot mine on the back end to make sure that if someone does try to swing in from the side, they get the sight. There's Ness trying to get the fight. He can't quite get the motion. The Monty's coming down, but the rotate over the top. We can see the Valkyrie. Palu's going for an adventure. He's looking for the fight, but they've pushed away. They've moved to a slightly safer spot. Lagonis is the last pick they're trying to find, and there he is. The pings on the players. They're waiting to see where the kick goes down. They know where both the two Liquid players are, and neither of them can get a breath. And W7M, clever play there because they got inside the site, but they didn't go, let's go for the play. Even though there was 20 seconds, 15 seconds left, they went, let's find where they are and work out what to do.
Yeah, I do wonder if they had info on Palu going for that main stairs flank in towards stock. I don't know if they actually had the information or not, but if they did, that would be a big reason why they kind of just then pushed forward in and away from that drop position, understanding that Palu's going to go in towards stock and then try and look down and be like, oh, well, I'm going to get him from behind. The fact that they just kept moving was the reason why they won that round. Really solid. And the fact that they were also able to deal with Nesk, who, yeah, maybe didn't die to those nades, but he was also displaced a little bit. Then the flashes, he couldn't really stop the drop either because of that Montang. Again, Liquid, I didn't think did awful things. I can't believe I keep saying it, but the fact that they forced W7M to roam clear, then they obviously had to do some really nice plays towards the hatch drop. They couldn't get quad wall opened up. It certainly wasn't the most clean round from W7M, but W7M were just better. And these are the same words I was basically saying first half of Consulate. Like, Liquid weren't awful, but W7 were just better. And then the script just completely, not even flipped, just went up in flames. And it was just like, yeah, so I can't discount Liquid, but the fact that they've lost 3 defensive rounds to begin, especially 2 of them on lockers and CCTV, really does suggest to me that they have not turned up here on Bank. But hey, I just saw them win from 6-0. Maybe they'll do it again.
Oh, it's not over till it's over.
Apparently.
It's not done till it's done.
Yeah, I don't give up on teams anymore. I've learned my lesson.
I think this is obviously, well, I mean, it could be much worse attacking than it was previous map. It's Bank. It's known. It's a known entity. And it's one that is so sort of evident in how these two teams are approaching it as of yet. There's a lot of responses toward what each other's doing. And it, as I said, becomes this argument of if the Liquid were doing what they're doing against a lot of other teams, they'd be winning these rounds. But it's against W7M.
There are so many similarities that I'm having, like PTSD, deja vu flashbacks. Like, the last game that I cast earlier today was NIP GK, and it was like Consulate, Bank, right? And like at least 2 of the 3 maps that we've played in this series. And like me and Hat were in agreement that like NIP should have won that 2-0. But we went to a 3rd map, and why? And it's like the same thing's happening.
Hello and welcome back to SI 2024, live from Sao Paulo, Brazil. The 3rd game of today, the 2nd map of our series. It's going toe-to-toe, neck-to-neck. Both of these teams want to come out 2nd in their group. I
mean, I just want to say, I think me and Jesse are pretty used to 3rd games of the day. It seems to be the norm. I think we're bad luck for some teams that just want to get it done in 2 games. So, but I'm excited though. It's been a barn burner. It's been one hell of a match between these two. I mean, I really couldn't tell you who was going to run away with this game, because it was so back and forth. But in terms of the players alone, I mean, there's definitely key points to be talking about there.
Yeah, a big comeback coming through from Los as well on that defensive half. You know, we started with SCARZ starting to run away with things a little bit. A 4-2 split after talking up how good they are on attack. I thought with them getting a 4-2 split on Skyscraper, you know, maybe we were going to see SCARZ just dominate this game. But unfortunately, their attacks on Sky were not quite as sharp as what we saw in Nighthaven.
Absolutely. I mean, when you're looking at the stats right now, at least transitioning from the last game, it looks like a team effort from SCARZ here. And then when you look on the other side of Los, I mean, this is the Loban that we were seeing in Atlanta. Maybe not the same Maya that we were seeing, but Maya's still up there. I mean, they were all still next to each other, but Loban specifically, an absolute dominant player.
This is Loban from the Atlanta crowd. That's what this is. No, he played fantastic, and I think the rest of the team obviously kind of plays around him. They know what they've got to do. We're still seeing Maya play well. I mean, second on the kill streak there, not bad, right? So that's nice to see him turning things around. But all in all, I mean, it really was his show. He really did have a great time here in Skyscraper, and I mean, that's what you need from your number one player, right? He's putting an argument for himself to be one of the best players in the entire world right now with this performance, and of course the last major as well. I really think mechanically and positioning wise, he is so good. And it's excellent to see, you know, what a master does at his craft.
I mean, and you're also talking about his flanks that he was hitting. It kind of reminded me of the VP W7M game when Pasha was going for those flanks. This is exactly what Loban was doing. He was catching SCARZ off guard and just running away with the round after that point.
Yeah, and SCARZ particularly is a team that also has had individual players step up to the plate, and that's what we were expecting today. Washoe being one of those players that has done really incredibly well, and that's what they need at the moment. It's currently 1-1. You want these players to step up, although you can't always be relying on these heroics, Jesse. At the end of the day, it's what got Los this far, so it could be what gets SCARZ this far as well.
Yeah, I think it was a big game of individual players. You know, Washoe, I'm glad you pointed him out because he had some really nasty shots. There was one shot on Office, right, round number 6, had a fantastic kill coming through. Round 4 as well. Had some really clean shots going through. It's unfortunate that didn't really carry over to the attacker side. It felt like when he was under pressure, when he had a lot of people that were hunting him down, that's where he thrived. So nice seeing that from Washoe. I thought Pion as well on the smoke. Really good defensive half, always in the right position. You try to get down below the site sometimes playing the black stairs. Wherever he was, he seemed to be finding great impact.
Yeah, and as much as we're having players that are stepping up, I think you individually highlighted Maya already a little bit, and that comes more into the theme of players we want to see step up in this next match.
Yes, and I think that's maybe where Los is falling a tad short, is because Maya was a standout player along with Loban. I think he was, back in Atlanta, he was like the 5th maybe highest rated before going into that grand final. And Maya, again, like, he's not performing terribly by any means, but he was a star player and a big reason why him and Loban were put on the face of the earth for Los and getting them to that grand final. So I think if we can see this last map go the distance and Maya really step into form, it's going to look a little scary going into that next game for SCARZ.
Yeah, and the map particularly that we're going to be heading on to will be Oregon. And something that we've been saying a lot on the desk, Jesse, when it comes to a map like Oregon, is that it's down to the basics. It's been played so many times. Everybody's already got it down to a T. So this is really where both of these teams have to shine.
Yes, Turdsta told me yesterday that Oregon is the map where good teams go to die, and that's why he wins it all the time. Implying that he is maybe not the best team to server sometimes. But you know what? They've been fantastic on Bleed on this map, and Los have been fantastic on this map as well, going back through the history. Throughout Stage 2, they were undefeated. They took down Miners, Talon, and GK. Some good teams in there, some rough teams in there, but still some strong performances, and an undefeated record is not one that you can laugh at. SCARZ a 2-1 record domestically in official competition, but when you go to international stuff, Copenhagen Major, they fell twice. 7-1 to W7M, 7-3 to Space Station. I'm sure they've worked on it since then, but there are some of those shakier results for the underdog coming into this that may come back to haunt them.
And it worries me too for a little bit of reasons. Obviously, this is a very default map, and maps that we've seen Rex specifically pop off in, there's a lot more room to move around. There's a lot more fluidity in the map for him to be able to catch a team off guard, to catch a player off guard, whatever that looks like. Whereas Oregon, there's not going to be a whole lot of that. You're pretty much always going to be at the forefront of every single engagement, of every single entry point. So it's a matter of, I think, if Rec is going to be trying to go for these initial picks, these initial starts, he's going to have someone following up with him, or else it's not going to go in their favor.
Yeah, looking at Oregon particularly and the performances that we've seen from both these teams so far, how confident are we feeling that Los can actually solidify their second position in their respective group?
I think that they're actually going to look really good because their performance that actually got them to main stage was actually against GK. And GK were a pretty dominant team for the most part on Oregon's. And they went toe-to-toe, and Los just ended up making the correct plays, the right maneuver, well, the right movements around the map, depending on the site, just maybe moving someone in a different location or even playing a different operator. And that's really how you have to play Oregon because, again, it's so default. You aren't really going to surprise anyone. It's more so about positioning and how you're going to be working around the map.
Yeah, I think as well stylistically, when you look at the defenses that Los had on Skyscraper or on Nighthaven, excuse me, they were getting cleared a lot of the times. They were out in certain positions and they would be hunted down and they would be taken out. Then when you look at Skyscraper, it was a lot more flanks coming through. It was a lot more Los being in control of that unexpected nature. I think with Oregon being a familiar map for Los, and also just the structure of the map, you know, when you're defending in the basement and such. Absolutely. So many staircases for you to come up, so many flanks that you can find. I think Los are going to have a much better time on those defensive halves. So it's going to be on SCARZ, in my opinion, to force those moments where you're finding roamers and pinning them down, rather than on Los to just play their game and try to make sure that they can avoid that.
Yeah, and with that, the game is ready as we're heading into the final map of the series. Los up against SCARZ fight for the second place in their respective group. Ready with our casters.
Thank you very much, and indeed we are headed towards Oregon, where good teams go to die. I more call it a 50-50 map. Anybody can win, right? It's like either the good teams will take it or the, well, underdog in the story. And, well, the predictions, as I said, a 50-50.
I reckon you saw that before.
I didn't actually see that before.
Yeah, keen to jump into this one. Of course, map number 3 of this best of 3. Los hunting down for their spot in the playoff bracket. SCARZ perhaps fighting for survival if they lose this one. Well, I tell you what, that head-to-head against Falcons tomorrow is going to be quite the match for that bottom spot, or at least escaping the bottom spot. So let's jump in. Ben, phase to kick off.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, you know, attack can really go anywhere. That could go from a Blitz or a Monty to a Thatcher or a Heart Breacher. Like, we never really know. And as the Montaigne is going to be removed from the start. Also, you know, talking about Montaigne, very powerful on the basement, very powerful on the top floor. So you don't really want to have to deal with that. Ying as well leaves the Twitch open. Very powerful operator in the current meta as well, considering the amount of gadgets that are just, you know, you can take out with it. Defense is Azami. That's one of the Fantastic Four. You want to bet for the next one?
I want to say Fenrir.
All right, Solace. Ah, you're right.
Yeah,
I had to go for another one.
Woo!
Congratulations.
Do you owe me a drink later? Of water.
Of water, yeah, sure.
Yeah, you can grab it. All right, let's jump into it.
Here. It's
yeah, you've already got plenty there. All right, let's jump into it then. Yeah, came for this one to play out. I mean, we did see the Fenrir burned out previously. I threw it out as a bit of a Hail Mary. I wouldn't have been too surprised if we did see the likes of the Solos taken down, because it can really help facilitate some faster map entry for the attack, and I think SCARZ probably would have benefited from that in the first half. But instead, wanting that Fenrir out loss, and that will aid SCARZ later on for the push and the execute itself. Bottom floor will be the site for round number 1. Last map of this best of 3. An exciting prospect for both teams. Of course, for Los, looking to solidify themselves in that playoff bracket. SCARZ, meanwhile, sitting on a single point thus far, and they'll be looking to, of course, bolster that at the back end of this match.
I just realized that no one saw bands but us, so we just...
Wait, really?
Yeah, I think that was just on the player cams the entire time, whilst we were talking about it. I might have misremembered that, I don't know. It's just because I was looking on the left-hand screen, I looked right after the band.
I think it was on the right-hand screen.
It's okay. Might have just missed it myself. Talking about the Blitz. It's on the board. Quick push coming down towards that basement. Of course, we're playing out there, and look at that. There's a single player on site.
This could be a fast blue hit. It's just dash on site.
Oh, they need to go through now. They need to open this one up, but they're still quite slow about it. There comes the explosive. Instantly into blue they go. There's a mirror right there, and all the alarm bells start ringing now. We need to fall back, and they do so as well through the E-box, trying at least get some control. Someone inside the freezer. A C4 pop's not going to be dealing any damage whatsoever, but SCARZ, you really needed to gain some ground out of this. You started to push. Everybody's back on the site right now. You've gained nothing but 5 people inside of blue. You've opened up the E-box. What did you get? Well, nothing. Dash opens up onto a shore, and Lost really just able to pull this one back. There was a single person on the site, and SCARZ too afraid to commit.
2 minutes on the clock. And what was a rush attempt now petering out. A 4 versus 5. Flashbangs still in the hands of SCARZ, which can be used to create some space, but there's no follow-up. And this has been a disappointing attack to kick things off. The response from Lost was sound. They got back towards the objective, and they have slain down this attack. Disappointing. The first word that comes to mind here for SCARZ. The rush attempt was a little bit sloppy. Rat gets a consolation pick, but should be traded out almost immediately. 1 HP, hits the grave, and that was bad from SCARZ. I mean, they kicked it off with a very big mistake initially. The Ash charge was followed up by the Gon 6, so you could tell that already the coordination was really not there. And then they had a very small window of opportunity where they had to commit to the push. The Blitz had to have the confidence to push forward with the presence of mind that he had to get a pick to give his team the advantage so that they could trade it out as members came back. It wasn't the case. They got stalled out. They sat in blue for a minute, and basically the expected result in the end.
Again, like, they were set up waiting for it, and as you said, like the Ash charge and the Gon going off at the same time. The Blitz was just waiting there. It's like, I want to go, but there's someone needs to open this door for me. If I need to start bashing it, and then, you know, that goes wrong. Then you have the mirror window next set in E-Box. Everybody's afraid of that. The Blitz pushes through, but decides to, you know what, I'm not going through this rotation, even though we have intel that there's only a single person on the site. They just needed to be more committed there. They needed to show some gut. And they just decided to pull it back as soon as the mirror faded away into the site. And again, there was no one on site at that point. We were all falling back. That was pure panic on low. So, like, we need to head back towards the site. And then the call comes in. They're not pushing, actually. It's like they're all in blue.
Yeah. Yeah, really strange there from SCARZ. I love the theory and the macro behind the macro idea behind that, but yeah, the execution was really, really poor. Oh well, perhaps a flash in the pan for SCARZ. But attacking rounds come at a premium, so you can't afford to mess around all too much. Top floor we go, round 2. And it's seeming like it will be a double window approach here from SCARZ. Diffuser out on that balcony position. But it is, of course, critical for this kind of push that you get control down below through small tower into dining and kitchen. Otherwise, it can be verted out by the opposition.
Actually like this more, using the Impact EMP to throw it through the Aruni laser gate rather than against it, because, you know, that would only temporarily disable it. Now it's just gone for 30 seconds and needs to physically be enabled right afterwards again. As when these start popping, they have some information about players in the actual side, and as Tayoya actually decided to drop off, taking some damage there again. You know, SCARZ starts off, they put a lot of utility in, they put a lot of pressure on, and then they just back off and nothing happens against it. And they're actually finding themselves worse aware, I suppose, Wai Shoi, Tayo, and now Rek as well, all have taken damage and they have nothing to show for it.
Rek there holding the cross outside that white window, perhaps a little bit unlucky not to be rewarded with a pick. But SCARZ now, the pacing slows. Eyes now on Wai Shoi. He'll push the ward into garage with a pretty advanced position. He can play flank watch through Z. I think Lost now just need to be disciplined and not give away anything for free. Rek will push forward. Barbed wire already dealt with, but there is barricade top wide. He senses that that may not be the optimal play and will now just hold it for now.
Just look at what the majority of the team is. Like, the majority of the team is standing by at the window. This feels like they just want to go for a smoke and start pushing through. Of course, that helps because they've been able to force Dash out of that position, so no verticality with the shotgun to come through, but Dots being close on the corner with the DMR is going to be the pressure point as Dash will be able to get the very first kill. Capitao sending some shots back and is definitely putting up the pressure onto Dots, who is, of course, playing quite close, dancing around the corner there. He's the one man that's stopping the potential plant from SCARZ to come through right now. You see two members currently focusing on it. Fire is being utilized to try and dislocate Dance, but he's still able to just continue playing in the exact same spot he was in before, not receiving any pressure whatsoever. They need to get someone in from wide. They need to get someone in from the master bedroom. Anything really to just dislocate him. But again, too one-dimensional. Everybody trying to push him from the exact same position as Dash will be able to get the very first. Now you have the Omai watching for the entry here. There's no way that this is going towards SCARZ.
Oh, 5 seconds on the clock. 1v3, Nitro. And not to be a Debbie Downer, but these might be the two worst attacks I've seen at the event so far. This is really bad from SCARZ. A failed rush attempt that looked messy, disorganized, and ultimately petered out.
All they had to do was just press W and it would have won it.
Round 2, they go for 2 separate occasions where they layer the utility and have 0 follow-up. They don't commit to anything. Sometimes in Siege, you're better off just having the confidence to commit to something at one point or another instead of just sitting outside. You have to show initiative on attack. Arguably, the first attempt, they didn't have the groundwork in place, so that was understandable, and perhaps there was a disconnect somewhere else. But the second time around, at that point in the round, you had to commit to something. You cannot sit outside and win a round of Siege. It's not how the game works.
Flank watch got flanked.
Attackers
So
have
fortunate.
recovered their
Again, it's beautifully played by Lowe's, right? We're not taking away anything
Absolutely
from
not.
them because they are just waiting, patiently waiting for the push to actually come to shove. They're there to respond, and in that first round, they were instantly rotating loud as soon as some form of pressure came towards the side. But SCARZ are not showing any commitment. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. They are just calling their utility and then chilling inside the first room they find rather than trying to find themselves onto the actual site. I don't know what changed because, okay, the attacks didn't really work out all together in the previous maps, but at least they committed to doing what they wanted to commit to. And that's just completely gone now.
Yeah, I mean, from an outsider's perspective, it really looks like a lack of leadership within the roster to just commit to something. I mean, someone somewhere needs to make the call that this is the play we're going for. If it doesn't work out, obviously you can then reflect upon it. And the beauty of the attack is you break it down into, quarters. You have the first 3 attempts and then the second 3. And obviously you can take learnings from the first attempt into the second for that particular objective. But if you never get to a point in which you're actually executing the play, well, you have nothing to really reflect upon because the round never actually got off to a start. Anyway, round 3, Dots gets the opening kill. That one outside blue. And the lurk potential from the Nook put to rest.
Before this game, before this map actually started, it was 8 opening kills for the side of Lowe's, 16 for the side of SCARZ. The first 3 in this round have gone towards Lowe's so far. And it's not just that, but it's also just the following up on those openings. There's just no response coming in from the side of SCARZ, and that is kind of the scary point that we're looking at right now. They're just not connecting whatsoever. They are setting themselves up for a stage take, but there's a small problem. It's Dots, who is in the back of the stage. It's going to be able to just shoot people as soon as they start walking in. Surely they know if they're...
Oh, no.
Surely they know that he's here! Another just complete opening and just complete ripping apart as SCARZ as Pion is the last man standing in the big tower, just holding off, waiting now. Impact's being used as well. There's a minute 20 seconds on the clock. Misses the first opportunity, will connect to the second. Sprayed through the floor and wall right afterwards. Just shut him down. They didn't even see him. And SCARZ, what are you doing?
Timeout. There has to be a tactical timeout.
Rightfully has to be a timeout. There's no way you're not doing that now.
The first 3 rounds have been absolutely shocking from SCARZ.
Oh, there it is.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what.
It took a while before that came in.
Yeah, no, it's been called. Good. Good decision, because these first 3 rounds, we have seen a SCARZ that we did not see, not on map 1, not even map 2, the map they lost. They look really, really like they have a lack of confidence at the moment. They're going for extremely linear pushes, and even then allowing defenders to get in positions that they should not be in. Prime example there in the previous round, the lurk from the Solace, I believe it was, completely ripping it apart.
And this has to be like a breakdown in communication, because someone obviously calling out a go, and then they're backing off. And what we just said there with Dots, that should have been droned out. Of course, I mean, it's a Solace. Surely, like, they are good at countering the drones, but it is such an open spot. There's no way you wouldn't know about that person if just a drone runs in. And it's just so painful to watch. SCARZ just completely not on this.
Oh, that's how he got it. That hurts. That really, really hurts. The Nook on drone, spotted by the scanner. And just SCARZ throwing bodies at these positions. No pinch on offer. Again, probably because that Nook was taken down, but even still, the potential lacking. And if SCARZ haven't refreshed themselves and talked through what the hell is going wrong in those first 3 rounds, this will be a 6-0 half, 100%. If they keep playing the way they are at the moment, and equally Lost keep playing well, because obviously they are, it will be a 6-0 half. And SCARZ then heading into the Falcons match will probably have this map lurking in their minds, and it's going to be tough for them to keep their hopes and dreams alive of escaping the group.
And it's so weird considering they won one. They could have won the second map as well, and now this. There is still time to turn this around, of course, and it is a game of two halves, so whenever they're on the defense, we might just see a complete turnaround. I mean, we had it on the other stream with W7M and Liquid to go up against one another. A little bit of damage done into Dots early on, and we see the instant rotate from him, though, back towards the actual site. Doesn't want to stick around any longer than he has to, but this is also Lowe's realizing the drone work's kind of off. Communication seems kind of bad as well at this moment in time. We do have an opportunity to play into this. And as Maya's calling out on the drones, it's just, you know, or the chem, sorry, they're just hunting down the drones. And that gives Dots the opportunity to potentially hop back up on the top of Big Tower later and actually go in for a flank. So they really need to be collapsing in those positions they're droning.
Well, Rex gathered quite a bit of information there with that particular drone. So he cleared. Top freezer stairs, though, occupied. Oh, there's just no one around to capitalize on this information, at least at the moment. So we'll see if that space is taken up. Finally, it'll be Rex, so a solo drone from him to take that space. We can see in the background as well, Taiyu pushing through lobby on the Maverick. There is a hold inside of meeting, though, from Loss. Taiyu will have a read on that in just a moment as the drone comes through, might have fall down. Loss haven't had to do a whole lot in this particular round to slow down the push. Naturally, it's just been the case for a SCARZ that look a little bit battered and bruised at the moment. Halfway point of the round, and still some positive signs for them in terms of a bit of map control. But again, as the time continues to tick down, there'll be a greater emphasis on this push being near perfect.
Now, luckily for them, the hatches have been left soft or have been opened up already by them. So there is an opportunity there to actually make something happen. However, that's what they need to do. And if we look over to our overhead, we see that there's basically no real push setting up yet. It is just a bunch of individual players trying to, you know, take a pick at individual places. One in the big tower stairs, one in laundry. We have one watching over the meeting hatch, but there's no pressure whatsoever being put down yet on side Lowe's. Now, Waisho is actually the one that's closest. He's playing around in barrels. He's trying to get himself with a kill. He actually spots out the angle of the shotgun there, but that flashbang being shot. FSC4 coming out. He has to go aggressive, but completely blinded by his own flashbang as he walks in because he got caught by the Wamai. Now a drop did come through. The diffuser has been dropped in the meantime. Never mind. Flawless route from Lowe's. I don't even have time to form sentences. They die that quickly.
6-0. It's going to happen. SCARZ, yeah, they don't recover from that tactical timeout at all. It's really hard in a match like this, or it's a map like this, because the other maps are actually pretty fine, to find positives for SCARZ. There's not any part of these attacks where we can sort of go, oh, it was a minor mistake here. You know, they tidy this up. Maybe they bring this operator instead, whatever. They could have really bolstered their chances. The last couple of rounds, in particular, have been absolute beatdowns.
And if we go back towards the opening kill we just had, right? Like we had the player in barrels, tosses in the flashbang, gets got off by the magnet.
Yep.
The C4 comes in, and it's like the only thing you can do is run forward and in. But you get flashed by your teammate, and there's 3 people watching that one angle. There's no way they were going to survive that. Either the choice was blow up or get shot. That was literally the two choices they had out there. And Lowe's really running away with this first half so far. If we look at the kills that we've seen on the side of SCARZ, what is it, 5 kills so far? Would be enough for a round in total. But they're being absolutely demolished so far. And of course, again, defense side of meta, 2 sides to a game of Siege. But if this is the way that you're currently playing, it's going to be very difficult to stay in the mental of, we'll have defense afterwards.
I mean, this isn't, I don't think
they are not like multiple finalists on LAN finals like Liquid is on the other stream. They have that like resilience to come back. But like SCARZ, they don't have that experience.
I mean, it's not even a meta issue. It's just the fundamentals have completely gone. We could be in any meta right now, and SCARZ are getting stomped. It's just the way in which they're playing and equally lost are up to the challenge and punishing all of the many mistakes, unfortunately, that SCARZ are making at the moment. But again, trying to look maybe on the brighter side. If SCARZ are able to get 2 attacks, the next 2, well, doesn't really matter how the other 4 went. So we'll see how they go. It's Lubin, though, top big tower. And this will be a sign of if things are going to improve for SCARZ, if they're able to clear him efficiently. Finally, though, they get an opening pick, and that's been one of the big troubles for SCARZ here on this map of Oregon. So that's a good start, and we'll see how they play around it.
I think they've actually decided to abandon the big tower out there. I'm not quite sure if we still have the presence up there in the top floor. Actually, we do have a player coming in from the attic to provide that extra support, so it seems like a double stack out there now, as it is a bit of pressure coming down towards the master bedroom in the meantime. But we also have Maya pushing in closely as the big tower again going to be droned. They're just trying to make sure that they don't actually spot out the Frostmed out there as they fall back now. Cameraman will find Fish-like. That means that they are going to be starting to fall back. They have that equal number again. They don't need to take these fights. Talking about which, actually might see a run out coming through from Lobin as he hears the rappel in. No one got caught off by the Frostmeds though. So they have big tower now. The gridlock tracks are being set up, but you see him go aggressive instead, and he just finds the kill. Now he's going to be falling back. It's like perfect. Track Stinger's thrown out. They think it's going to be clear.
And that's one of the instances.
He's waiting in the corner, Maya.
A superior play from Lost Scars. It's hard to fault them for placing that flank watch and trusting it in the moment. 45 seconds then on the clock. And this should be another round to the defense. Pune left all alone. Hands thrown up for Scars. What has gone wrong for them in this half? Just about everything. It's 5 straight for the Brazilians.
To be fair, it was a good play swinging into the Track Stingers. You do not expect someone to watch it at that point. But the fact that you just walk in the master bedroom right afterwards when Maya just moved in, that should have been droned. That should have been held. That should have been aware. But that, they don't know. And again, it's just all falling apart for SCARZ there. There's not much more we can say. It's just not connecting. It's just not working. And we can analyze that as deep as we want, but it's fundamentals that are wrong currently. It's nothing to do with strategy.
That was
it's
nice.
It's a beautiful peak. That's for sure.
That was naughty.
And again, that was a beautiful play, but
yeah.
What about this?
That's just bad.
Maya's just chilling in the corner, finding 2 from the bedroom. It's painful, but it is what it is, and SCARZ will have to try and find themselves with at least a little bit of a buffer, find themselves with a single attack round, so they have the opportunity to turn things around onto the defense themselves. And I'm not saying that's likely, because I think, honestly, Lost has this 7-0-7-1 in the bag with the way things are currently going.
I don't want to say I said it, but I did say it. It will be a 6-0. Unless SCARZ can perform a miracle on this objective. We cast our mind back. Last time, very linear, big tower. Couple of years behind the meta. It used to work not too bad in days gone by. But unless you split the attack properly, it's really challenging to make that work unless Lost throw picks. And from what we've seen so far, that is very, very unlikely. Tai tries his best to sneak a shock drone in towards the site. But Lobin aware, scans it out, finds it, survives that shot, and can now just chill on the staircase.
Yeah, he's not going to swing that again. Drone's quite close to go. He's going to hunt those down, and with that, only 4 drones left. They've just tossed like 3 or 4 drones at Lobin. He's just going to keep shutting them down. Is there more drones coming towards him, or are they going to try and forget about him? Because, I mean, to be honest, he's in a position, but it's not that important of a position if you want to go for a plan. Usually you would either go for the kitchen or you would go for the back of stage, but the lobby push is just not done usually. Rack opens up though. Maya will be shut down. That is a great pick that they need to be building on. Finally open a kill last round as well, but Stats is going to be able to take down 1 drone, aware of the fact that he might be pushed, so he's thinking about falling back. Whilst Dash is thinking about going more aggressive instead.
Ooh. Oh. Survives just. Dash on an island, but can SCARZ actually isolate him? Well, the answer, an immediate yes, and dots will fall too. So perhaps it won't be a 6-0. I take it back. SCARZ have continued to fight. Lobin taken very low, and we're sure we'll find that one. So it's Lobin in the 1 versus 5. Should be a SCARZ round from here, of course. It goes without saying. But will 1 round on the attack be enough?
The nut coming down there is going to be aware of that, but the plant's going through. Grenade will be forcing Lobin back. They're aware where they are. And surely this is going to be a SCARZ round. Why does that happen? What? I mean, this is a round that is going to SCARZ. We already knew that, but that, like, if we didn't have the grenade kill yet, does this count fresh?
Can we get a replay, please?
I don't know where that one came from. But 5-1, SCARZ, they found themselves the buffer they needed, and now they just need to try and turn the tides onto the defense. And again, it isn't that they are incapable of defending, it is more so the mindset of being 5-0 down. Can you bring it back at this point? Are you resilient enough to basically take this round by round, rather than look at the big picture and be like, we're 1-1 in score, it's 5-1 on this map. If we lose 2 rounds, it's over.
Well, there were a couple of smiles on the player cams for SCARZ, so perhaps not all hope is lost. Quick look back at the previous round, and really just a case of SCARZ being able to maneuver their way in the map and not miss anything. Here's the grenade.
That bounced back, and Wreck just walked in it.
Boom.
Lol, well, I mean, it happens.
Classic. Well, I think the important thing as well to note is, of course, Lost will have their tactical timeout.
Yeah, for sure.
So I assume as soon as Lost get on match
thing.
point, if they lose any rounds post that, they'll just call it and really set themselves up to convert the game.
I think it's going to be a rush coming out from the side of Lost. We see the Blitz out there. It's going to be solo for now, though. Doesn't have any support. Okay, so it's not going to be a rush. There's just going to be a normal approach first, but it might transition into a quick play and a quick take as soon as they do decide that it's time to take the side.
Yeah, probably looking for a trigger point. I think if Lost get an opening pick here, which has been a big strength for them, they'll go for it. Fish like getting info on the Solus, which has been quite the impactful operator on the map so far. Lost leaning into it and leveraging it nicely on the defense. Maya to push up top white. Has a bit of a read. Fish like though should win this fight and does. The prone peak for Maya doesn't work out. Dots now to try and hunt down the Solus.
If plan A doesn't work, let's just send plan B right at him, and that is going to be an impact coming through, and also him trying to drop through completely blinded. Following his Dots! The double kill to come through, but Dash will be able to at least go for a trade, aware of the fact that they were trying to escape, but you've lost your Blitz in the process. Was it really worth it to drop right after him, knowing that Dash was that close and the player was fully fleshed? Either way, Lows are still in it. Just the fact of this round is that they do not really have Heart Breach. And I know Maverick is on the board, but opening up those hatches takes a lot of your fuel, a lot of time. And not to forget to mention, it is quite risky as well, because if a C4 gets placed at the bottom of the hatch and you start opening it up, you might just find yourself blowing up on the opposite end of things. So how are they going to be approaching this? Are they going to be opening up the hatch, or are they going to try and push down the staircases and maybe through blue?
Yeah, a couple of options available. I suppose they are going to lean into the Mav and just ignore
Breach.
the depletion of time, at least for now.
There's no way. Okay, I was going to say, there's no way he's going to try and go for a hot breach there through the hatch. Opens up. Cameraman's going to try and at least put some pressure down. Flashbangs will be sent through, but Magnets will catch them. Dash, of course, the only person with a kill so far on this half for Los. He's going to try and cut the pie cleanly, sees that blue is relatively clear, not making too much noise, has just been spotted out by the shield though, and that is always a bit of a difficult position to play in, but as it is going to be SCARZ to go in for that double kill and triple in the end, it's the lock-off, and they find themselves with the second round. The comeback might be on. It's the first step. Still many more to be taken, but this one looked quite convincing.
Yeah, well, I agree with the sentiment from the SCARZ camp. You could hear through the player cams.
Yeah.
Nice, nice, nice. And it was well played overall, decent roam.
It's not too enthusiastic, but it's like a well done. Up to the next.
It's an affirmation.
Yeah.
We're on the right path. And to be fair, the bar was set quite low after the first half, but any improvement was going to be great for SCARZ in bolstering their chances and bouncing back here on Oregon.
I mean, Fishlock played the huge role here, finding first of all the Ash, rotating out. Oh, wasn't actually flashed. Found the Blitz right afterwards as well as they dropped. Like that double kill was huge.
That was pretty nice as well. So, I mean, SCARZ are looking mechanically sharp already here in the second half, which unfortunately they were never in playmaking positions really in the first half to actually put that on display. And maybe some early signs of frustration setting in here for Lost. Obviously important that they just maintain the mental, because given the nature of the game at the moment and this map and the, everything in context, there's a fair chance that they're really going to have to grind away at this half if SCARZ are here to play.
Yeah, for sure. SCARZ, of course, they've shown in the last 2 maps they can be a formidable opponent. Taking the first one with a 7-5, losing the second with a 5-7. Like, if they would be going out in a 7-1, 7-2 victory, that would have just been a shame. So I'm glad to see them, you know, they've been able to find that last attacking round, that they were able to find that first defensive round, but I'm hoping to get some more, hoping that they can bring this to a 5-5. Maybe even push this towards an overtime if it allows us. Rack is trying to fall back, just saving his life. Some tracers still flying through, but he's able to avoid them as Washoy actually has a good opportunity for an opening here. Going for the jump out on the reload. We'll find Dash instantly back in, and it's a great opener for SCARZ. Well followed with the Solace gadget.
Impact trick on the fan down below to try and deny this hard breach, but Cameraman follows it up with an exothermic, and Washoy not in a position to use his 2 impacts, of course. He was last seen over towards Small Tower. So an entry point now established for the attack, but it is a 4 versus 5. We'll see if Dots here, though, can get a little bit creative. Talon Shield in hand, plants it on the floor, and he's able to now just post up and watch that cross.
So technically, he only needs to dig in deep, get over the top of the... Oh, actual impact in the meantime got used here on Dots. I was going to say, only he really has to do is just jump over the football table, try and go for a plan there whilst the verticality is going to be in, but he's not given that opportunity yet. Rack went quite aggressive. Washoy as well, just making sure that that talent shield was going to be gone. And Washoy now playing below, of course, playing with the Solace, has the opportunity to use that impact to stop that plant from happening, to start using that for verticality. And as Dots is taking some damage again as he's walking by, it's Cameraman in the meantime dropping into pit as Lowen finds Wreck. So we are all even in this round.
Oh, the smoke to just force Dots back. Cameraman, though, is in a really good position. Can use the shield to his own advantage, mindful of the flank. So too is Dots. 50 seconds on the clock, just holding the line, but so too is the defense.
They must have seen that he was coming on a drone out here. Cameraman will dry as Dots gets himself right behind a smoke canister. Goes up, but he shoots it before it can detonate. And that means that the plant is now going to be on. Pion needs to be able to connect him. He will get one of the cover, not the second before the plant goes down. They need to find both those kills right now. One is in the master bedroom, the other behind the talent shield. Both low on HP. All you really need to do is hit a shot on either of them. And as Fishlike is trying to provide some cover as well. They're just trying to find themselves with the right angles. The jumping gets covered off. They now know where Loben is. That means that they just need to find a way to find Dots. And as Fishlike is trying his best to duel either, or he's not gifted any proper opportunity to find a kill. The pre-fires is coming through. He will find the very first, though, but he has only 7 seconds to start with the second one. Goes for the stick, but will he need it? Will he get it? Actually, no is going to be the answer as Loben pulls back in time. There is no time left to start this defuse. He gets a quad kill, but it's still going to be Los's round on the back of that plant.
That was a messy conclusion to the round. The Osa pivotal in opening up that plant opportunity for the attack, and once the smoke fell, it meant that the plant could be secured. Awkward 2 versus 2. SCARZ were trying to unlock it best they could. They didn't really have the tools to deal with the Osa directly, so there was an onus on clearing that secondary player in bedroom. Couldn't be specifically located, and unfortunately for SCARZ, they now are staring down series point. For Lost, though, it's 4 map points. Series points as well, of course. The tertiary site will be rotated to for SCARZ. Credit to Lost. Brought the round back. SCARZ, in terms of the opening duel and the entry, have actually done okay in the last few rounds. But
yeah, they've been doing quite okay. Got 4 out of the last 4 rounds, so it's 4 out of 7 that we've played so far. Hey.
Yeah, just couldn't convert, though. Yeah, it was a quad for Fishlike, but with no time left and Lost bleeding that time really nicely in the post plant, all SCARZ can do is, I guess, tip the hat at what was a great attacking round from Lost.
Yeah, and try and recompose yourselves and go on, because now it is quite literally do or die. If you're not able to pick up the next 4 rounds and bring this to an overtime, it is Los who will be taking away the victory and the majority of the points here. And with that, really throw SCARZ into the deep end here for the grouped match tomorrow, where whoever loses is going back home. And SCARZ, they have definitely put up a good fight. We cannot say that they haven't. It's just that the Oregon wasn't really what they expected. Dash in early will find the opening onto Wishoy, who has been a mainstay. He's been so impactful for this roster during this game, during this map. And losing him early on, that is going to be a pain. Now, top 4 quickly being taken under control. There's just a player around inside of the attic and inside of the dorms bunks that they do need to clear out if they want to have that full control. But this is also the danger. There's almost no support. There's no way that they can play cover to cover. And as Rek is going to be shot through the window, he's trying to fall back and fight for his life, but he's really just being isolated here. As, you know, the CZ not doing too much. Rek will find the very first though before he gets shut down. So does Fishlike, and it's not going to be great for them. Only left a Pion now in a 1v2 situation. Los have the opportunity to close this off. Pion has fallen back towards the site. He's playing this patiently, hoping to find at least one off guard, and has the opportunity to do so through the vertical, but fails to actually connect the shots. Do see in the meantime the clutch drone hacking out some of the utility. That will allow for a bit more of a stealthy play. That gadget not going to be making any noise now as they start moving through. Of course, that is the big advantage of having that Melusi cameraman, escaping the Thorn Razor Bloom, escaping the shots that Pion is putting down. He's trying to still survive, knows about the player coming in from the split. It's all or nothing, and it's nothing for them. It is going to be Los that take the victory. SCARZ who falls short after an abysmal first half in Oregon here. They managed to at least get a bit of a salvage with that one round, but nothing really more than that. And Los, in the end, I think we can only say the deserving winners of this series.
Yeah, 100%. They got off to a fantastic start on Oregon and a bunch of points for them to bolster their standing in Group D. For SCARZ, though, it really does come down to tomorrow, that head-to-head against the Falcons to determine who will be knocked out of the group. I think they'll be very disappointed with how they started off map 3. They just did not give themselves a platform to defend on that defensive half.
They just couldn't connect. They just were nowhere to really be found. And it's a pain when that happens because they've played a great series up until that point. And then they get 6 kills in 5 rounds and it just all falls apart. And in a game that's been so close up until that point, you cannot really afford that. But we will be tossing it to the desk, who will break it down further.
Thank you so much. Welcome back to the desk. Thank you as well, Vloman, for joining us. Congratulations on your win.
Thank you.
You had a dominant performance yourself, but I want to start talking about map number 1, Labs particularly. It was very much a back and forth, doesn't go in your favor. What do you think went wrong there?
I think we didn't expect them to change so much. They did a lot of counter stress against us, so we were expecting a different playstyle, and they got us off guard, especially on the defense side. So that 4 rounds really made us struggle because we attacked really good on the map. We got I think 3 rounds, and we almost got a 4th round on the attack side. So I think the defense side was the biggest problem for us on the map.
And my question is then going into Skyscraper, realizing that your defense, that's where the issues were coming from, then did you guys take a step back of that more aggressive and just more turtled together, or kind of what was that?
I think it was we just didn't want them to get isolated kills in the map. People playing alone and just get killed. It's easier to do the execution of the round.
Right.
And we just say, hey, let's just not give them kills. And then the execution, they play very badly.
Yep.
And we just got our defense in a really big wall.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, we had a lot of expectations from Los coming into this. We were thinking you guys had an amazing run in Atlanta. We were questioning whether or not you'll be able to replicate it. With this win, you're pretty much getting yourself up for success for that 2nd place in your group. So what was that preparation like for yourself from Atlanta into SI, for you as a player individually? What did you focus on?
I focus on, of course, getting better individually, so I have to keep going at the stats and everything I've been doing. Of course, I'm trying to help my team with any type of intel and any type of visions that I have, because I think way different from my IGLs, from everything, because I'm pretty crazy sometimes. So yeah, I just focus on fragging. So I keep giving my teammates all those kills because that's my job.
All right.
Okay. Well, I have one very important question to ask you. Obviously, your name is all over the charts, and you know your name's all over the charts. But if there's something that you could say to the community, what is like the one most important thing that you do that you bring to this team that you just have in your arsenal?
I think a big difference that I always had is first I play the game a lot.
Yeah.
I was one of the guys that have most FPL games in Brazil. I go to NA, I play FPL again, and I go back and play FPL more. So, and of course, like, I'm an aggro player, and the biggest thing for me is knowing what the other team does, like the things that they do too much.
Yeah.
They repeat a lot.
Okay.
So I just focus on punishing all those things. So I watch a lot of VODs. Even that I'm an aggro player, I watch those VODs so I understand what I need to do so I get those entries.
So the answer is for the kids out there that want to grow up to be just like Loban is VOD review, grind hard, and then display it in the performance.
Like the basic things to say, but it is the thing you need to do.
Absolutely.
Work hard. It pays off. Thank you so much for the interview.
Thank you.
We really do appreciate it. And once
appreciate
again, congratulations on the win. For those of you at home, just a little recap in terms of how this map went. It was, well, how the series went. It was a 2-1 performance and win for Los. And that actually gives them as well some couple of points here on the board as well, which is exactly what they need.
Yeah, I mean, you need points. Everybody needs points, especially at this late into the tournament. You need them. And especially for SCARZ, at least coming out with one, it's not great, but it is better than nothing. Obviously, they still have a chance to push through, but they got to be winning these games. But again, hats off to Los. I mean, we're just talked to Loban, 34-19, 123 rating. He's an animal.
He absolutely was. I mean, he popped off today. We saw so many other players as well in this third map pop off for Los. We saw Maya doing really, really well. We saw Dash have some great kills as well coming through here. So some fantastic stat lines coming through from Los. Unfortunate for SCARZ, I think they just weren't in it at the start of that game. You know, we started to see some rounds towards the end there, but it just felt like there were a lot of mistakes being made in those first couple of rounds that just didn't let them get going. And, you know, we talk about Oregon's being a defender-sided map. Obviously, you know, you got to attack basement, you got to attack dorms. Those are tough bomb sites to attack, but you should at least be getting a little bit closer on some of these rounds. You should at least be getting at least a couple of entries, and we just were not seeing that from the SCARZ. It felt like they kind of pittered out at the end of the series.
Yeah, with SCARZ as well, when we're looking at their performance today, potentially like this being a marathon rather than a sprint seems to be dragging them out a little.
Yeah, I mean, it was looking like a marathon from the first two matches, and then the last bit, the marathon ended right there. I don't know if they got exhausted. I don't know. I mean, I said I was kind of worried for them going into Oregon because especially for a player like Rec, being able to move freely around the map, play a little more loose, find those engagements, it's going to be a lot harder on a map like Oregon where it's very constricted, and 9 times out of 10, there's probably someone ready to follow up.
Yeah, when we're looking at their group, particularly, they were sitting at 4th place before this game because they had 1 point, so that Falcons, they managed to get themselves another point as well, but then that game tomorrow is going to be so crucial in terms of who actually goes home.
That's against Falcons, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Falcons?
It is.
Boy, that's going to be such a good game then coming up. That's going to be battle to stay alive in the tournament, battle to not get sent home from the Six Invitational.
And sometimes you need to have your back against the wall, and you can have that glory run of being in loser's bracket. I mean, wherever it puts you, wherever it ends, regardless at the end of the day, as long as you stay in the tournament and you keep going forward, get to that world championship title, that's all that matters.
It's also going to be a bit of a battle of the traditional kind of 3rd, 4th regions because historically Japan has always been one of the stronger of the weak regions, right? We've seen great teams cut out of Japan like Norarengo, like Cyclops, who have historically done pretty well. And then we've got Falcons coming through, bit of the new blood, the meta team that people really haven't talked about before this year coming through. So we kind of get to see a battle of different eras. Obviously, SCARZ as well have been relatively new on the come up. But in terms of regions, it should be a great battle tomorrow.
Talking about backs against the wall, the second map, W7M Liquid, this was on the restream for those who have missed it. Yes, correct, W7M take the series 2-1, but that is after they lost a 6-0 lead on that second map. Lax, I want to look at this from a player perspective. When you're in W7M shoes, you have that lead and you lose it. How do you get back into the swing of things?
I mean, the biggest thing is it happens, you know, whether the team just finds their niche in that map and how to figure out the play style that you have, or you just get a little too overzealous and you think it's a 6-0 and, you know, all right, we're winning it, we're closing it out, and you just keep losing round by round by round. And W7M are no strangers. I mean, they're hard competitors. They know what they need to do in order to get it fixed, and obviously going into that last map, it looked pretty dominant overall. But yeah, when you're in that situation, something that I try to do with my team, because it is very easy to get overzealous when you are up in that lead lead and dominating the performance overall. It's just look at the scoreboard as 0-0, as if the next round you got one right after that, and try to reset that mental.
Yeah, and we're looking as well in terms of the games that we've already seen today. It has been a lot of 2-on-1s across both streams, but the one coming up next is going to be Sonic up against Fury. And that one, Jesse, we're staying in that Group D, and it's crucial furthermore to solidifying Sonic's position as first place.
Exactly. Sonics could be the first team to lock down a perfect group here at the Six Invitational.
Woo.
They could get all 12 points, go undefeated through their 4 games, not dropping a map. But Fury currently are undefeated as well. 2-2-1s. They aren't likely to overpass Sonics in terms of points, but if they could get a big win there, they would definitely have a chance to overtake Sonics on the final day.
I mean, I want to say for like the bracket at least, like this is where I've had Sonics in a position too of them being the first one coming out. So I feel good in terms of my bracket right now of that looking like a possibility. Still, Fury are no team to be slept on. They're a phenomenal team. I think every team here, regardless at SI, has been really showing up and showing why they're here and why they're at SI in general. So, I mean, I don't want to just like lean on one team entirely, but I am still happy that my bracket's shaken out in some way, a positive way.
Yeah, well, it's not just the team showing up, it's also the players showing up individually, hence why we have Intel plays of the game to highlight some of these incredible performances that we've seen. And this time from the series individually, it was Dash.
Yeah, Dash and Loban in a 2v5, and this is actually a really sick round coming through on Nighthaven Labs. One where it felt like SCARZ should have absolutely been able to lock it down. There was one kill, if you missed it, it was quick, but the player was tossing out a C4, and they just barely were able to deny that plant. It was so close. A battle of inches on that 4th round there on Nighthaven Labs. Really well done, and I think it shows the coordination that a team like Lowe's have.
You just stole what I was just about to say. I can say in terms of the communication, you can be down into 2v5, but if you are coordinated and using the communication with your teammate, it is very easy to turn that 2v5 into 2v2, or what they just did, completely close it out entirely.
Yeah, well, thank you guys so much for that insight, and thank you to those at home as well for watching. We're gonna be heading off to a quick little break, and we'll be back with the final series of today. Sonics up against Fury, coming up next.